sit back down. Stay a bit.
Okay.
You do know Cermak was ours, right? That Al put that Polak's fat ass in office. But now this fair is coming, this World's Fair. A lot of money to be made. Whores, gambling, and beer right there on the fairgrounds. If it's legal by then. Or if not, in the speaks. Either way, it's our beer they'll be drinking. Now the city fathers want 10% Tony Cermak to clean up the town. But how can Tony do that and give people what they want?
Like whores and gambling and beer?
Like whores and gambling and beer. I'll tell you how. By putting the screws to the old Capone mob. Feds got a lot of mileage out of sending Al up.
So, Cermak teams up with the smaller mobs then. Roger Toohey, Ted Newberry. Small fry he can control.
And throw us to the goddamn wolves. The outfit that made the son of a bitch.
I don't doubt you're right, Mr. Nitty. But what does it have to do with me?
I just thought you might like to know Ted Newberry put up 15 grand for anybody who'd bump me. Open fucking contract.
You sure of this?
I don't bullshit with 3 leaking wounds in me. Added to all the different ways the two Harrys screwed you over is they wasn't gonna cut you in.
Fuck a duck.
Yeah, fuck a duck indeed. Just thought you'd like to know. Something for you to, what's the word, contemplate before this goes to trial.
Thank you, Frank. I hope you get well.
You know, Nate, I believe you do.
Louis, I'll need my gun back.
Okay.
It's got sentimental value.
Give the man his gun back, Louis.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke. Well, no, I'm your Pharaoh of Physical Media on this show. See, I change my identity depending on what group of friends I'm hanging out with. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I leave that for you imagination connoisseurs, to decide. Welcome to Let's Get Physical Media, episode 177. My God! But you know what I'm going to say, because I say it every Sunday. Sometimes there's people in your life, there's people in the world that you're happy that you know. People that are better than you. People that live in countries far away. People that have, well, they have the same worldview as you do, but they're very different in other ways. And we have him right here. You've had him. I've had him for 4 years now. And we're going to have him for many more years to come. Unless I die or stop buying physical media, which I don't see happening anytime soon. All the way from Saarbrücken, Deutschland, Mr. Dieter Bastian. Dieter, how are you?
Thank you, Rob. And I hope we can do it a longer time, because watch this, Rob. Watch this. You know?
Oh my God, did you talk to a girl in a bar?
So I want my minute of pity now, you know, because as the clumsy klutz that I am, Rob, I did a tumble. You
mean she punched you? Was your opening line not good?
Yeah. Nothing's broken, just some, you know, surface level injuries that will not derail our show, because, as Peter Taggart would say, show must go on. Or Jason Nesmith.
Peter Taggart and
Galaxy.
Jason. Yes. I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Yeah. So, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Dieter here. I'm Rocky like arrogant, and welcome to the B&B Motel for Let's Get Physical Media, where we have always something to discuss. And Rob, let me start immediately. A little bit. I'm going back to the Blair Witch for a moment, because I watched the documentary, Rob. And at first I was 2.5 hours. Ooh. But it was totally interesting. Even, I would say, Rob, even more than the movie. You know, to listen to these guys, how the movie came to be, the hurdles that they had to get through, the concept that they had actually for the movie, then it got changed, how they did get into Sundance. So this one, for me, one of the best documentaries I've seen, Rob. It was just totally interesting. To go through the whole process for those guys.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you as well. And remember, we reported on the replacement program, so people can, you know, I wrote to Second Sight and I said I bought it from you guys, and they first of all, Second Sight's customer service in my mind is second to none. You know, after I got, they believed me when I said that I got a Japanese bean growing whatever colander in the mail.
Exactly.
I mean, that was an outlandish story, but it was a true story. It was an absolutely true story, and I was pissed. And they could look back at my order history to know that my first Second Sight disc was Betty Blue 12 years ago, and they know I sing their praises. But I'm telling you, Second Sight to me is perhaps my favorite home video company. Now there are others that are rivaling Second Sight, like I think what Umbrella's doing is fantastic. But Second Sight's pretty great. And that Blair Witch disc is up there, I don't know, release of the year. Now, I want to plug next week's show. Next week's show is the 15th. It's a banger of a show. Don't tell me you can't be on it.
Rob, I have sad news on that front.
Dude, you can't not be on the show.
I have birthday obligations to attend to next week.
Fuck those birthday obligations. Come on. Isn't this show at night for you? We have George Feltenstein. We got Bill Hunt. I've got many YouTubers.
I will try to make it, Rob, but I can't promise you anything.
It's not like you're going to get drunk. You leave early.
That's certainly true, Rob. That's certainly true.
People have other birthdays. This is a one-time event.
Yeah, but the guest that you have, Rob, it will be epic. If I'm
Dude,
there,
the only reason I'm getting the guests is because of you. If you're not here,
I'm not sure about that, Rob, because two of those guests are your best friends for a long time, so they will show up with or without me being there, you know. And then you have Heath, I think, Elliot Cohen, you know.
Yes.
Jeff is there, so Rob.
You think Elliot Cohen doesn't want to meet you? I want to meet Elliot Cohen. You know what? Maybe I'm going to start doing Let's Get Physical Media with Elliot Cohen. He's a Brit. You know, they were on our side during the war.
The only thing, but this would, of course,
Goddamn Jerry.
Would be a complete rescheduling if we can do it Saturday, Rob.
Oh, Saturday. Okay, for you, I can't believe I'm going to do something for a German like this.
I don't know if you have reached out to everybody. Do you have to reach out?
I have reached out to everybody.
Again?
I have reached out.
Yeah. So
this was planned.
Let it stay at the 15.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is just
sad news here, sad news there, Rob. But at least I hope the box office has better news for us.
Oh, what do you want me to do? Change the subject now? Is that what you're trying to do? Change the subject on me?
Yeah. How long would you like to discuss the subject?
Boy, I can see where this is going. All right, I got the box office for
you.
The
show will be epic. Don't worry about that.
It's our show. To not have my co-host, that's like, not having Hammerstein.
Yeah.
If you're Rogers.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What can I do?
People are like, what? But anyway, it's, it's not like, it's if I'm missing Powell and I'm Pressburger. It's like being Siegfried without Roy, and they're German.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're not. They're Swedish, Norwegian. I don't know what they were. But it'd be the same thing.
Tiger, Rob.
You can't deal with tigers without two people, and you're going to leave me high and dry. You know what? I don't know.
I know.
You know what? I'll tell you something. Last night I did a show on Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
I have seen that, Rob.
45th anniversary. And somebody in the comments said to me that not only, because I addressed the idea about being a Star Trek gatekeeper, and somebody in the comments said, not only was I a gatekeeper, but I'm also an elitist. And they said that they'd been watching Star Trek longer than I have, basically because I didn't exist yet. And they called me a gatekeeper and an elitist. And, I walked away from the show really thinking that I really have to look inward at myself and take stock and really answer the important questions. If people are accusing me of being a gatekeeper and an elitist, I mean, what does that mean? And, after thinking about it overnight and contemplating it, I decided, fuck yeah, I am. I'm an elitist and I'm a gatekeeper. And the question is, why aren't you? Why aren't you? We need more elitists and gatekeepers. What is this mediocrity? And if you're older than me, you should know it. We should demand excellence. If you saw what happened at the Oxford Union this week, shame on them. Shame on them. They proved, you know what? Nothing shows me that academia is lost than what happened at the Oxford Union debate. And you know what? Just watch it. They weren't allowing certain speakers there. The most anti-Semitic, evil, racist shit I've ever seen. Unbelievable. Academia is lost. Academia needs gatekeepers and it needs elitists. If you're going to an elitist college, you better be an elitist. You better demand excellence. And I am tired of people putting up with mediocre Star Trek. Oh, wait, what is this show about? Hang on. Let me just, oh yeah, it's a physical media show. Forgot.
I need to go back to that comment drop to see what it was all about.
Yeah.
But I've seen the show about Star Trek.
That's good. You should.
I heard.
So
I had to say.
you were asking about the box office.
Yeah.
Right. Because this is a movie show. Hang on.
But just finishing up, the documentary was really excellent on the Blair Witch set.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
hesitant considering just the running time, 2.5 hours, but it was totally worth it to listen to those guys.
It's true. It's true. So here we go. We got, this is amazing, really. So this is from Nancy Tartaglione. This is the international box office. From Deadline, obviously. Movies are banging up. So here, let me just read this article. It was smooth sailing for Disney's Moana 2 this weekend as it reached $600 million global following Last Frame's record-breaking bow. The running split for the splashy sequel with $300 million domestic and $300 million from the international box office. The full overseas frame was $103.7 million in 52 markets, repping a 41% drop, but that's to be expected. Japan was new this weekend with $6.5 million, including previews. So Moana 2, big hit for Disney. Universal's Wicked has flown past $400 million worldwide to become the biggest non-sequel of the year globally. The worldwide cum through Sunday is $455.6 million, including $135 million from the international box office. So, you know, those two movies are keeping that box office. It's strong, which is obviously great for movies. There's also a powerful Indian film, an action crime drama, Pushpa 2: The Rule, which is shattering records both at home and globally. On Thursday, the Sukumar-helmed sequel had the biggest opening day for an Indian film in India and worldwide, and across the 4-day frame is estimated to be on track for 590. I don't even know what this word is. It's their money. Crore? Is that what it is? Crore? 70 million in India, with another estimated 20 million from offshore markets, and that's a global debut for an Indian film is 90 million. And it's, of course, a follow-up to 2021's Pushpa The Rise, and it unseats the previous record holder for a top India and global bow for Bahubali, The Conclusion. I'm telling you, you go Bollywood. It might be a Tollywood film, but it does say Bollywood. Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. So you got to love that. Red One is up to 164 million global. Lord of the Rings: War of the Rohirrim has opened internationally, and it didn't do very well.
Oh, okay.
It was only in 31 markets, and it made $2 million. Okay. Venom: The Last Dance is now up to 472.8 million globally. That's really great. I'm Still Here. It opened in Brazil, 9.2 million in Brazil, so they're loving it there. Solo Leveling: Reawakening made 4.1 million globally. So hey, you know, the box office is let's take a look and see what the domestic. Let's see if we've got domestic here, and we do have domestic box office numbers.
Nice.
And I figured I'd give them to you too. So obviously, Moana 2, Wicked, and Gladiator 2 are driving the domestic box office here in the U.S. And those numbers are as follows. Moana 2, obviously we already know it's up to 300 million. Wicked is up to 320.5 million domestically. Huge hit. Gladiator 2 is up to 132.7 million here. Red 1 is now at 85.7 million domestically. And even in the United States, number 5 is Pushpa 2 The Rule. It made 9.
Never heard of that, Rob.
I know. You know, I'm not up. I wish I knew more about Bollywood and Tollywood cinema, but Pushpa 2 The Rule is at 9.3 million domestic.
Okay.
Let's hear it for if it's in Hindi, you know, God bless our Indian brethren. That's pretty amazing. Interstellar.
Y2K movie, Rob.
Well, that's not even on here.
Ooh, okay.
Not even on here. So much for Rachel Ziegler's career. Am I right? Number 6. No, it's on here.
Okay.
Interstellar is number 6.
Oh,
the
the
10-year anniversary re-release of Interstellar in 70mm IMAX made 4.4 million, which is pretty good. Solo Leveling Reawakening from Crunch. That must be an animated film because it's from Crunch and Sony.
Crunchyroll.
Yeah, Crunchyroll. So it's a Crunchyroll title. It made 2.4 million. So there you go.
Yeah.
Y2K from A24 only made 2.1 million. I mean, you know what I think about Y2K, and I think to myself, maybe it's 24 years late. Go figure. Maybe.
But I don't know if you have heard a review on Chris Gore's channel. He said that a friend of his told him about an earlier version that he has seen way back, which was totally different than the one that got released in the theaters. It had more gore, more raunchy comedy, so it seems that they meddled with the movie.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, those.
Because his friends told him, you have to see the movie. It's great. It's funny, but then
I'm hearing a lot more about what it's like to work for the executives at A24.
Okay.
There's a lot more meddling. I think they're drinking their own Kool-Aid. Remember who made that company, and it wasn't you, A24 executives. It was the films you chose. It was the filmmakers that worked and made those movies. You don't know as much as they do. Your company was built on the backs of artists. You had great taste. Don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up like that guy who cooks on Instagram. So Y2K 2.1 million. Gosh, did your meddling help that movie? I hope there's a lesson to be learned here. Yeah. I hope there's a lesson to be learned, and it wasn't
at least
A24
Chris
okay.
At least Chris said his friend told him the movie was mostly different than the end product.
Yeah, somebody fucked it up. Because, you know, it happens at all film companies. All the executives at some point decide they're smarter than the filmmakers. And they get in. And you know what? Usually they're not. But that's okay. What are you going to do? So, and finally, rounding out the bottom of this list, we've got For King and Country, A Drummer Boy's Christmas Live.
Okay.
That made 2.6 million. And I guess if that's what's really great going on there. Hey, and the best Christmas pageant ever is up to 34.4 million domestic. Jude Law's movie, The Order, when he goes after white supremacists, just came out, small run.
Yeah.
It's only in 603 theaters. It made 878,000. Daniel Craig's movie Queer came out with 866.5K. And Honora, which, it just goes to show that Honora from Neon, and I love Neon, but how do you take one of the best movies of the year and not market it the way it should be marketed? 13.1 million. This movie should be a huge hit. Huge hit across the board. Huge hit, and it's not. But, what can I do?
Is it perhaps a tough movie to market in general, Rob?
Yeah, that's why the marketing department has to step up. But you know what? The marketing departments of movies, they don't really know how to market anymore. They can only point to other things. I mean, you got to be innovative. You got to be out of the box, like your filmmakers are. Nobody knows how to do anything anymore. They don't. And it's too bad. Because do your fucking job. A movie like Honora should be a big hit for Neon. It very well could be Best Picture this year. Very well could be.
Oh, nice.
It's that good. I'm just saying. Go see it. Support indie cinema. And nobody knows what it is. When you have a title like Honora, I get it. But you got to see it. You got to go. It's great. It's good stuff.
Totally.
Come on.
And next week we have Craven opening, Rob, and I heard Sony released the first 8 minutes already.
Okay, they did. So
What's about that, Rob? Please come see our movie. Please.
I had a friend. Look, it gives me. Look, I love Chandor, who directed it.
Yeah.
He made Margin Call. Look, if you want a great double bill and you want if you have a fetish for the financial crisis of 2008, let me tell you what the greatest double bill of all time is: Margin Call and The Big Short. And everyone's seen that Margin Call scene. If you've never seen Margin Call, just look up the scene when Jeremy Irons comes in and has Zachary Quinto explain the subprime mortgage crisis that's about to happen to him. Talk to me like I'm a child. It's one of the great scenes of all time. It's people sitting at a table. That's all it is. Margin Call rules. And, he made that Ben Affleck movie when they were soldiers and they went and got that money. What was it called?
Yeah. Triple Frontier.
Triple Frontier. Yeah, that was good. It was good. I mean, the fact that he has to direct a Craven movie, it's like, come on, man. Now, I had a friend who saw it.
Okay. Completely.
Not a fan. And I think it's amazing to me. You now have the Venom franchise, which, lucky for Sony, is making money. But Morbius is different. Morbius, Madam Web, and now Kraven the Hunter. Why are you doing this to your Spider-Verse? Why is it that you can make movies like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but your live-action films are just anemic? They don't work? It's sad. And I'm like, it's baffling to me. And Aaron Taylor Johnson should be a star.
Yeah,
and the fact that, look, he gives it his all, He was great in, like, Bullet Train. Hell, I loved him in Oliver Stone's Savages. He was great as Kick-Ass. He obviously did the work to make his physique but the idea of making a Craven movie, I mean, everybody knows when you think of Craven, you think of one thing. You think of the Spider-Man story, Craven's Last Hunt, and you should. Why didn't they make that? If you're going to make a Craven movie, get Andrew Garfield to be Spider-Man and go make Craven's Last Hunt. I don't get it. Hollywood's dumb, even though I want to work there. So
we'll see how it will.
I could fix the whole place. I could fix the whole place. I really could. By the way, 200 Watt Studio, 200 Watt Studio sends in a super chat and wanted to remind you, I forgot to tell you this, that Cynthia Rothrock will be replacing you on next week's show.
Okay, that's a fine replacement.
She's not. I haven't called her. And Cult Cinema or Undead Sick. Undead Sick, he's now Cult Cinema 83, did write me a letter, got a letter, and I was going to read it on Robservations, but since Undead Sick is here a lot, I could read his letter now. Would you like me to? Because it's a good...
because I have 2 letters to read too.
Okay, let's do it. I'm going to read Undead Sick's letter. Yeah. Pardon me, Cult Cinema 83.
You will be Undead Sick for us.
Because Undead Sick is a great name.
Yeah.
Zombie Vomit. I love it. So here's what Cult Cinema 83, aka Undead Sick, has to say about why he rebranded himself. Why Undead Sick is now a dead name. And Cult Cinema 83 he's been reborn. Or I guess they've been reborn? How do you do it? What do you say? I don't know. Don't want to get it wrong. So this is from Cult Cinema 83. It's actually a great letter. Hey, Rob. So in today's letter, I will explain to you why I rebranded myself and my channel. So here goes. When I first started a YouTube channel in 2015, my plan was to make it all Star Wars based, but very quickly I discovered that its fandom is the most toxic out of all franchises and IPs. Let me explain. When I watched The Force Awakens in theaters, I got to talking with people after it was over, and I was telling them that I loved it, even though it was kind of a copy of A New Hope, which I fully admit. And people were literally waiting for me outside the theater, ready to beat me up for saying something that in their mind was blasphemous. So I didn't do a video on it. But when The Last Jedi got released, I thought to myself, fuck it. And I went on YouTube where I explained in a 30-minute review in which I was considerate, level-headed, kind, passionate, and open-minded why I absolutely adored and loved that film so much. after the original trilogy and Rogue One, it's my favorite. And you would not believe, oh yes I would, the amount of hate as well as nasty comments that were thrown my way simply for defending that movie. People wanted to stone me to death or burn me at the stake, not a lie. And that's the kind of fandom I don't want to be a part of. And I start to see it everywhere, because going to your whole thing about that certain things are objectively good, don't you understand that by saying that you set a precedent in which you are basically saying that you are right and the only one that knows what's good? No, because something's objectively good. I don't even necessarily think it's right, even though I'm a gatekeeping elitist.
Yeah.
Just saying it. You're telling fans that they can't like things that other people hate because apparently, what do they know, right? That's not true, by the way. I like all kinds of things, including, which we'll talk about later, humanoids from the deep. Humanoids from the fucking deep. Anyway, we'll get to that. You were telling fans that they can't like things other people hate because apparently, what do they know, right? I see it in every franchise and IP right now where the anti-wokeists and bigots, I won't use the R word, have free reign where they feel like they can dictate to a small section of the fan base that does love things how they should feel or think they should feel the way they do. But they're not right necessarily. It is the exact reason why the term gatekeeping was invented by people. You don't know what Star Wars represents. Yes, I do. I just have a different perception about it than you do. Does that make me less of a fan? It's a goddamn opinion and it's mine, but it doesn't matter because these people like to conflate it to a point where my thoughts are non-existent. These things undermine Star Wars. No, you think it undermines Star Wars. It's not that hard. I just feel differently, so stop trying to pretend that you guys are the only ones who know what a franchise IP should be. Well, my God. Anyway, eventually I rebranded my channel into Undead Sick because I also love The Walking Dead. So that was my plan B, to do Walking Dead stuff. But recently I'm starting to find out more and more that my beloved TV show is becoming the same way as Star Wars. So I thought I'd get ahead of this shitstorm this time, as I love physical media and cult movies, and I have rebranded myself yet again into Cult Cinema 83. So here goes Plan C. I hope I've informed you well enough with this letter, Rob. Greetings from Holland, Cult Cinema 83. See, I told you it was a great letter.
Yeah.
Well done, Cult Cinema 83. And thank you.
Did you feel the pinch drop, about gatekeeping?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, not a lot. That doesn't mean people are right, And also, I think here's what I find interesting, especially on this channel. We like things at what I like to call, we like things at scale. So, like, if you're talking about a sweeping epic like Lawrence of Arabia, it's not a stretch to defend something like that because history has already defended it for you. History has already deemed it. Same with Citizen Kane, same with Casablanca. It just so happens those movies are also great. They're great. I mean, I love those films. Now, I happen to think that All That Jazz is one of the greatest movies ever made. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. There are people that it's not to their taste. Now, that doesn't mean that All That Jazz isn't a great film. They just don't like it. That doesn't mean they're wrong because it's subjective. Their tastes are not my tastes. But that doesn't mean that All That Jazz isn't a great film. And we're seeing an interesting thing happening, I think. There's a lot of people nowadays that are going back and looking at old movies and reassessing them going, this isn't that great. My problem with their opinion is they're not taking into consideration things like, when did this movie come out? Why is it significant? I mean, the history of art and cinema being the greatest art form of the 20th century, you have to take into consideration when things came out originally and what it meant to the development of cinema. I mean, feature filmmaking has been around just over 100 years. So it is possible to go back and look at the entire evolution of the art form. Now, your opinion about the art form is, of course, valid to you. But when I read people going, The Godfather's overrated. Well, you might think it's overrated, but I'll tell you, you're wrong. And I will argue that with you. Now, I'm never going to convince you to like something, but what you're doing is you're assessing The Godfather. History has already said that it isn't overrated. And I would say that, art can fall out of favor depending on culture. So I'm not saying that history is the greatest, whatever history says goes, but human beings are the ones that are wishy-washy. And I think great art endures. And I do believe that there is objectively great art. I would say that there's a lot in The Last Jedi that works, and there's a lot that doesn't work. That doesn't mean you can't like The Last Jedi. I actually like The Last Jedi better than Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker. 2 movies I hate. The Last Jedi is the only thing that really furthers the Star Wars mythos in any way. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of problems with The Last Jedi. I can't stand there's a joke about putting somebody on hold in the middle of a battle sequence at the opening of that movie. It's a colloquialism that breaks the fourth wall for me. And I'm like, why would you do that? When Han Solo does it in Star Wars, and he's in cell block 1138 and he gets on that conversation and shoots the comm lock or comm link or whatever and says boring conversation anyway. That's almost colloquial, but not really. You're just talking to somebody through a radio. But when you literally put somebody on hold, I think that was a dumb move. And that always interferes with the movie, with me. But that doesn't mean, a lot of people hate The Last Jedi for other reasons. And I think they're legitimate reasons. But the thing is, we love a lot of shitty movies on this show. And we don't apologize because we like them at scale. We like them for, look, if you intend, and we're going to talk about Humanoids from the Deep and Galaxy of Terror later. Now, I'm not going to say Galaxy of Terror is as good as Alien because it doesn't have the pedigree that Alien does. But for what it is, Galaxy of Terror fucking rules, and so does Humanoids from the Deep. Now, I'm not going to put Humanoids from the Deep up against Jaws, but I can love Humanoids from the Deep for what it is. And I think that's something that isn't really understood today. Because everybody's if it isn't some transcendent experience and it's not a life-changing, then people dismiss it. And I can't even talk to people anymore about my love of movies like Galaxy of Terror, Humanoids from the Deep, because they don't get it. It's very hard, especially with newer audiences, to explain how these things worked. But when I was a kid and watching these things, except of course when it comes to people who love the Goonies.
It's actually, Rob, a little bit the same, with the Blair Witch Project, when people now say, it's not that scary anymore, a little bit the same with that movie.
Well, yeah, because they've seen
how it was done, how it was shot, and how little it cost, actually,
Well, and I would also say that people who are going back and watching, here's one of the I think problems with our culture now. Is that you need to be open. You need to, when you watch an older movie, you need to be open to try and take it on its own terms and have a little bit of understanding of when the film was made. Because if you don't, you look, if you were born, say, in 1995, and you're now almost 30, and you started really watching movies regularly when you were, say, 10. So you started watching movies in 2005. When you go back and you watch a 40-year-old transcendent slasher movie, like people who watch Halloween, which is basically bloodless, and I hear people go, Halloween's boring. Recently on my feed, people are talking about how the first RoboCop's stupid and cheesy. I much prefer the remake. Well, we now live in the satire world that RoboCop was satirizing, and so people watch RoboCop and they're like, this isn't that funny. What is this? I don't get this. And it looks low budget and cheap and whatever. And I don't. You can't say that they're wrong because society has changed. But I would ask people to, it used to be when we were growing up, we understood that. Like I could go back and watch a Universal Monster movie and understand. Okay, these were made in the early 30s. So when I would watch a Universal Monster movie, I remember the first time I saw Frankenstein, and it was on TV late night, and the crawling hand and that freaked me the fuck out. And I'd seen a lot of modern movies because when I went back and watched Frankenstein, I had put myself in, okay, this What was this like in the 30s when it came out, and I wanted to know. And that was part of the joy of watching an older movie, is to try and put yourself in the mindset of what the filmmakers were doing at the time when we were just a few years from the dawn of the sound era. And a lot of people don't do that, and I can't expect that. But you know what? I'm an elitist gatekeeper, and I'm going to start expecting more. I think we should all start expecting more of one another. We should all be elitists and snobby, because we're being dragged down into the muck by inferior intellect.
There you go, Rob.
Demonetized.
So nice that we know how Undead Sick got. I got a letter from our friend Paul Allen Brunotto, and I'm glad that he finally got his this. Enriquez got his Wolverine win too. So Paul Allen Brunotto writes, let's get physical media. Christmas movies, not yet on Blu-ray or 4K. Hello, Dieter and Rob and live chat. Hope the Christmas season is serving you all well. And it wouldn't be a grand holiday season without watching some of our favorite Christmas movies to get us through these crazy times. But what about the Christmas movies not yet on Blu-ray or 4K? The Steve Martin, Madeline Kahn, Anthony LaPaglia comedy Mixed Nuts, co-written and directed by Nora Ephron, which celebrates its 30th anniversary, not on Blu-ray or 4K.
I just want to point out that Anthony LaPaglia is in episode 4 of True Noir, The Assassination of Anton Cermak. Shameless plug.
Or what about the 2022 sequel, A Christmas Story Christmas, with Rob's co-editor, Peter Billingsley, on arcade? Only on DVD, where's the Blu-ray and 4K? Let's mention some forgotten and truly underrated Christmas movies like Bob Hope's The Lemon Drop Kid, or the great Rupert with Jimmy Durante and Terry Moore. You can't forget Ernest Saves Christmas, or some animated titles like Annabelle's Wish and Santa and the Three Bears, just to name a few. Do you have a favorite Christmas movie, not on Blu-ray or 4K? You all have a great week, and until the next letter, catch you all later. Favorite Christmas movie not on 4K? Just to mind came actually Lethal Weapon, the first one, in 4K.
Well, there you go. That's
or Longest Good Night in 4K.
Those are
a little bit the action, right?
I was going to say Reindeer Games, John Frank. But
we have Reindeer Games, Rob, in 4K from Kino Lorber.
It's coming out, but is it in 4K? I hope it is. But it's not here yet.
So,
but I don't look.
But I think only the theatrical version.
I think Paul was talking about actual, not our action movies that were,
Yeah, I know.
White Christmas came out in 4K, but those movies have always been out, and I think, again, it comes down to, is there a market for these movies? And I guess there would be. But he's not wrong. There's a lot of movies that are still unavailable in a lot of forms. I can think of one that stars William Shatner that only ever came out on DVD.
Yeah, I know that movie, Rob. I've seen it. Rob, should we show some physical media?
Yeah, you want to start?
Even if I haven't that much title to show. First of all, Rob, this was a recommendation from you, but I got our friend Eric Van Shore, the director of Hope and Glory, which now sits at 1.9 million views, Rob. I hope we can get to 2 million at the end of the year. He bought me this as a Christmas present because I did send him that terrible Horizon movie with Kevin Costner because he likes that one.
Come on, man.
You can get it, Eric. Yeah. So, Rob, he bought me Project Hail Mary. So I will see what the fuss is all about, hopefully. Because, Rob, like you always said, you will Judge McChutcherson, go to people's house and look at all the books they have.
Yeah, because I'm an elitist gatekeeper.
Yeah. But you will probably disappointed how little books I have. But at least I have Project Hail Mary. Then I don't know if he's in the chat. Thomas Logan. Thomas, du alter Pizzabäcker. You old pizza maker. He sometimes, I just assuming it is from him. He just sends me stuff through eBay and other things because sometimes he thinks I don't own the movie already. He did send me from Michael Haneke Hidden. So, Thomas, I can't thank you for this because one, I already have that movie. Secondly, I had to pay 10 euros custom tax for this one, and it's even used. So Thomas will get no thank you for this one. If you want to buy me something, go to my gift list on Amazon. Don't assume that I don't own something because it's not a trash movie.
Wait, do you have a gift list on Amazon like an OnlyFans model does?
A little bit of a gift list, Rob, because considering you and I, or both of us, for us to buy Blu-rays, that's a tough choice, because we almost have the big titles. If you want to buy movies for us, that's really tough. So it's better to have a little bit of a gift list that you say, okay, those titles, if you want to purchase something, those I don't have.
Do you sell people pictures of your feet?
No, Rob.
Oh, okay.
Is that
Just
the money?
checking.
Is that the money maker, Rob?
For you, it could be. You never know. You could have a whole new fan base.
Okay. The first one, and probably my only US release this week, Rob, from Shout Select, I got Rush the
Nice.
4K.
I love that movie.
Me too, Rob. And when is the Brad Pitt movie coming out next year in theaters, or will it go direct to Apple?
No, F1's it's Jerry Bruckheimer, man.
Yeah.
They were shooting second unit stuff in Vegas at the F1 races a couple weeks ago.
Nice. So, Rush from Shout Select. Then, Cat in the Bag, Rob, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Lily James. I don't know if you've seen it. The movie is just called Greedy People.
Look, nothing with Lily James in it is a cat in the bag, because I know all about Lily James, and ooh, she's my celebrity crush.
Tim Blake Nelson is in it, so really looking forward to this one. Hopefully, a nice one. Cat in the Bag. Another Cat in the Bag. Since I didn't get any last titles last week from Germany, except for Rush, all the rest of the titles that I will show are from Germany. This one, 4K and the Blu-ray, Cat in the Bag. It's just called The Bridge. Looks like an action thriller. So hopefully good. You could reverse the cover artwork. So no ratings on this one. Next one was a nice red armory with action director Corey Yoon, unfortunately no longer with us. Naked Soldier. And it has actually a little bit, at least a 2-page booklet in it. So, Naked Soldier, this is a newer movie. Actually, don't think it's an older one. Naked Soldier. And to end the first half of my haul this week, from the producers of the movie Fall, which I totally love, looks good. But Cat in the Bag, 4K for Dominic, which we like, with different cover artwork underneath it. So I got Dominic, first haul, Rob, for me. Dominic.
Well, that's good. That's good. I also
bigger ones I save for later.
Yes, again, it's either feast or famine. Some weeks we get a bunch of stuff. Some weeks, we don't get as much stuff. I got a great box from Kino Lorber. God bless Kino Lorber. And it was a very diverse box of stuff. Hang on, as I realized I opened one because I thought it had a reversible cover, and indeed, it does. And oh boy, is this a good one? Anyway, so let me put myself on camera, and then you can see me. So first of all, I got a great box from Kino Lorber, and of course they're always they have Kino Lorber, and I'm interviewing a documentarian this week for Kino Lorber.
Yeah. Nice.
So they send out a lot of documentaries on DVD. And the documentaries, here's one, I Could Never Go Vegan. I could never go vegan.
That's mine, Rob. That's
And for anyone who's ever said it, it's a thoughtful, provocative, and ultimately persuasive documentary, a watertight case for a plant-based diet. There's a documentary called Forks Over Knives, I think, or it's Knives Over Forks, that was all about a plant-based diet. I mean, look, I've said for years that one day humanity is going to realize, maybe through generative AI, we're going to finally break, like the thing that social media has taught me, between all the videos of dolphins like getting people on fishing boats to come follow them so they can release their mates or friends from fishing nets or whatever, or animals from different species that make friends with one another. I understand it's all anthropomorphic. But I really believe that one day we're going to find out that the animal world is a lot more sophisticated. I was watching a video the other day with these elephants that stop cars in the middle of streets. I don't know where this was.
Okay.
And I mean, the video has made it, and they demand stuff like cantaloupes or watermelons, and it's like they're getting people to give them food so they can pass through the road. Otherwise, the elephant doesn't move. I get all that, but I really do believe. You know, I never owned dogs. I always owned cats, and cats are aloof. But cats, you know, but living now with 4 dogs, they totally communicate, and it's like I can't imagine anyone ever harming a dog after living with them, because they are creatures that think, and they're empathetic, and they have feelings and all that. One day we're going to find out that we've shared the world with these animals, and maybe what we've done to animals, especially things like factory farming, are not good. So, but that's just something that it's just our perspective. I mean, we think we dominate this planet. Do we? I don't know. And here's a documentary, what is it called? It's called The Quest Everest, which is about Mount Everest, which I love. Okay. Here's a movie called Much Ado About Dying that I don't know anything about. And then here's something called Starring Jerry as Himself. Now, Kino Lorber, I can't think of a better way to launder money than put out a bunch of documentaries on DVD. Kino Lorber is, I mean,
money needs only to go through your bean grower.
Kino Lorber puts out so many interesting things. I mean, in terms of a label, they do so many interesting things, and I'm a huge fan of what they do. And they send me this stuff, and they're great. Now when they re-release stuff or repress things that I already have, they're sending them to me as well. So I did get 2 films that are fantastic. The original Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. This is the Blu-ray, and then also John Frankenheimer's The Train.
So, what do you mean a repress, Rob? Where they're sold out, or where they're not?
I don't know,
anymore?
but they've sent these to me before, so I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start keeping these, and either trading them in or sending them out to viewers. You know, doing something with them, because you know, I don't want to. I mean, these are great movies, and Kino Lorber is sending to me, so I'd like to pass them on. So thank you, Kino Lorber, for that. And these are both of these movies are fantastic. And this presentation of Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3 is great. And so is The Train. If you haven't seen Frankenheimer's The Train, it was part of his 60s lineup of bangers, which include Birdman of Alcatraz, Seconds, 7 Days in May, and of course the Manchurian Candidate, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. And then they, again, an old John Barrymore movie. You know, I don't know if this is silent. It's 1927. But, you know, I love that they're putting out these amazing classics. And California, which a movie I need to watch, with look at this cast, Ray Milland and Barbara Stanwyck. And an early film that Anthony Quinn is in. I mean, everybody is taking a cue from George Feltenstein and the people at Warner Archive. They're all doing that, which is great. Now, here's a Mitzi Gaynor and Gig Young movie with Kirk Douglas, For Love or Money. I've actually seen this movie. It's pretty funny. And this is from 1963. I like these early 60s adult comedies. They're pretty interesting. And then they sent me The Ballad of Josie with Doris Day, which I haven't seen, but again, it's from '68. Probably a movie that contributed to the death of the studio system. But hey, look it's The Ballad of Josie, and she's got a shotgun in her hand. What's not to love? And then a film that I really, really like that they just put out, Robert Duvall and Laura Dern in Rambling Rose, which is a great movie. And here's a movie I haven't seen but has a great cast. Mila Jovovich, Wes Bentley, Nastasha Kinski, and Sarah Polley in a movie called The Claim, which is about the gold rush. I know nothing about this film. But this is from 2000.
Heard of them.
Yeah. And it's widescreen. So, hey, you go, Kino Lorber. And so that got those in. So there you go. That's my first half of my... Yeah, I know, right? Not bad. I'll take it.
Not bad at all. Do we have some super chats?
I think we probably do. Let's see. 200 Watt Studio says, no one understands my love for Galaxina. I do. I bought Galaxina when it first came out on VHS for like $80. Dorothy Stratton, who Bob Fosse made a movie Star 80 about. Galaxina starred Dorothy Stratton, the ill-fated Playboy centerfold, as a robot, Galaxina. And part of that spate of early 80s low budget, I wouldn't call it schlock because I like Galaxina, but there was a lot of that in the wake of Star Wars. A lot of low budget sci-fi movies that were being made, and Galaxina, it was sexy. There was some sexy time in Galaxina. So what's wrong with that? Marco is looking forward to seeing the Interstellar special edition release tomorrow. A lot of people are excited about that. People love Interstellar. I didn't love it. I like it. But the more I've watched it, the more I like it. I guess I'm tainted by the fact that I read Jonathan Nolan's original draft that Steven Spielberg was going to make that I actually liked better. And then Christopher Nolan brought the whole love dimension to it. Love is a dimension. Like, you can go into love and experience love, which is fine. Maybe you can. Maybe that's something. I just read an article saying that there was some experiments that were done that the Pentagon has a report that says consciousness goes on after death. Who knows?
Who knows?
You never know. 200 Watt Studio says, Dieter with a gift list? Is he a kept man? I don't know. I think Dieter might have a secret life. We just have to find out. We have to, all you internet sleuths out there, let's find out where Dieter's OnlyFans account is or whatever. Who knows what he's doing, you crazy German. You never know. Terrier writes in.
Hey.
And Terrier actually wrote to me and asked me if $500 was a good deal for a Hot Toys Big Chap and a Ripley. And both were in great shape. And you know what we say? If somebody asks me if they should spend money on Hot Toys figures, what's the answer?
Yes.
That's right. That's right. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. And for $500 to get both of those figures, great deal. Yeah. So Terrier went, only had to drive 30 minutes. Oh, and he came back and he got them. He sent me a picture. They're both in really great condition, which is great. And I want to thank Terrier for letting me flirt openly with his ex-wife on Facebook because, what are friends for?
Yeah.
And I met them both face to face. They came down to London when I flew over there to see Skyfall in 2012. So I met them both. And there's still,
at least one happy memory of Skyfall.
Oh, it was I had a happy memory. It was, it was good.
What did he say, Rob, in the super chat?
Terrier, he just says, thank you. Oh, I didn't say it. He says, thank you, Rob. He says, thank you, Rob, for being that enabling friend who makes me spend $500 on on lovely stuff. Well, that's what I'm here for, Terrier. The answer is always yes. And sometimes, you know what I saw? I don't know if this is true. I saw somebody online or some store. Yeah. I don't know if it was an action figure store or like a Warhammer store. And for a service fee, they will make you a fake receipt that shows you paid a lot less than you actually paid. Like if you buy a Hot Toys figure and you spend $300, they'll write you a receipt for like.
So when you come home, It was a Schnäppchen.
Genius.
It was a Schnäppchen.
Genius.
Genius. It was a Schnäppchen.
You know, Elizabeth will tell you that I always say that I ordered things months in advance. Most of the time, that's actually true. She thinks I'm lying.
Considering Hot Toys, yes.
You got to order. I know, but she thinks I'm lying, and you know, I understand. I get it. I get it.
It was good that Harry could witness the figure immediately. You know, not after he get the package and then it's damaged or something like that. So it was great that he had the hands on immediately.
Yeah.
Before the purchase.
Yeah, and also Raymond, I think it's Lavertu, has become an imagination connoisseur. Just became a member of the channel. So Raymond, thank you for that. We'll be having a member call next week. And hopefully by then we'll find out where Dieter's secret OnlyFans account is. So why he's kept man and why he has a gift list on Amazon. By the way, if that's true, everybody go to Dieter's Amazon gift list and buy him presents.
Yeah,
you know,
that's the Blu-rays I want, Thomas. Not the ones that you think I don't have.
You probably need a pedicure kit to make sure your nails are perfect on your toenails are perfect. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Put that on the gift list then, Rob.
I'll do that. I will do that.
I have the second letter, Rob, that comes from Tim Hens. Let's get physical media letter. Guten Tag, to the Pharaoh of physical media and the Trash Panda. Hello to all regulars in the chat. Just a very quick letter to the show. Do you two intend to do another end of the year top 10 cinema releases and physical media rundown of the best movies you have watched this year on the big screen and which you have purchased on disc? It has become quite a tradition, so hope for it to continue in fine style. As always, keep fighting the flag for the importance of physical media. There's always a Schnäppchen or cat in the bag out there to be discovered. From Tim Hens. Yes, Tim, from my end, we are doing, of course, our best of the year. Probably, I haven't figured it out with Rob, probably the 29th, I would say. It is a Sunday, and it's the last one of the year. And
I was just going to say, that's exactly the day that we're doing it on.
Yeah. And we will try to get Cody Leach joining us for this one, because it's a ranking stuff, and Cody's the master of ranking.
Yeah,
we will try Cody Leach to join us for our top 10 releases of this year. So yes, it is planned to keep that tradition up. So,
100%.
physical media, Rob.
More physical media.
Titles.
Yeah.
Who starts, Rob?
You, go ahead.
I start.
Do it, buddy.
The last three. Perhaps the most overrated movie this year.
What?
But a clever marketing strategy pulled it through box office heights. And, of course, I was getting it Longlegs as a media book. And I don't know if I can show it. It has actually the coding here.
Right. That's cool.
The book. So after a second viewing, I would say 6.5. It is at the beginning a slow burn without a burn, but I actually quite enjoy the climax of the movie. It comes with the 4K and the Blu-ray in it. Then, of course, we have the media book part in it with some more pictures than actually text here. And it has some postcards in it too.
That's cool.
So, Longlegs. Not the. It didn't live up to the hype that it got, but I would say I arranged myself a little bit with the movie. It certainly has style to it. Longlegs. The next one, Rob. As you mentioned earlier in the show, we try to measure movies at scale, considering when the movie was shot, what was the budget. And the next one, Rob, for me is actually the Terrifier of action movies. It's a Finnish movie called Prisons. This is the German media book.
Ooh.
And why I say Terrifier of action movies, Rob? Because a simple headshot is not enough for that director. So it goes a little bit further than just simple headshots. So on the action side, and Carnage Candy, totally Metzel im Style. It's totally my jam, but it is a low-budget independent movie. You know, you have to go into that with that assumption. You know, it's not Michael Bay $100 million action movie. But considering the stuff, because it didn't get the usual German rating, Rob, it had to go through different channels to get the uncut, you know. And so I was expecting some bloody scenes, and it delivered, Rob, on that front, at least. It's about a guy who comes from prison, is getting released from prison, gets a new job as a doorman in an elite club, but downstairs at the elite club, there's some shenanigans going on.
Not shenanigans.
Yeah, prisons from Finland. And
Wow.
then you mentioned the movie Tomorrow on Star Trek a little bit, and you told us already that your steelbook got ended, Rob. But I got not only the steelbook, I got the collector's edition for Galaxy Quest, one of my favorites. Because we had two movies in 1999 who ventured out to try to become classics, and only one did get the title cult classic. Just saying.
Touche. Yes.
You got the steelbook, Rob.
I got the steelbook, which comes with an O-ring, you know.
Oh, that's nice, Rob. Not mine, not because it's in the box.
But I want you to
Where is
take a
it then?
gander. Look at this. I don't know if you can see it. See how that
It's a little
steelbook's
bit,
bent over. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not egregious. Like, look, I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it really is frustrating
I've
when
seen
you
worse,
order.
Rob. I've seen worse.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't so bad. Now, what's really great? Did you watch it yet?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
The
I
transfer
love
is
that
gorgeous,
Yeah.
and
That they did get a Dolby Atmos track, and the first time we get 3 aspect ratios.
3 aspect ratios.
I didn't check the Blu-ray, Rob. Is the Blu-ray from the 4K Master 2? Or is it
You
the
know what?
old one?
I didn't. I would assume that it is. I never, unless there's new special features of the Blu-ray. I just don't care. I only watch the 4K.
I haven't checked it, but it would be interesting to see if it's an old one or it's the new one, because then the Blu-ray would have the 3 widescreen options too. Because we start the movie is completely 235 to 1.
Yeah.
But we start at 4:3, go to 185 to 1, and then when Tim gets back set to Earth and the doors open, we go to 235.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, it's
down,
good.
yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. And
Is
this
that
the first time the
collector's?
movie
Is that collector's edition domestic? Is that a U.S. release?
UK, you can get it
Oh.
in the UK, in Germany. So
Oh,
never give up, never surrender. A little bit of swag. Let me just see.
Shit, man! I didn't even know
We
that
have
came
in
out.
here. What we have in here? It's just swag, Rob. We have some stickers. For
Yeah, but that's
Galaxy
cool.
Quest, you know, by Crappath, Hammer, and I love the movie. I love the movie.
I do too.
And I don't know if you have seen it, Rob. Exactly at the right time, Red Letter Media put out a Galaxy Quest review with Dennis Quaid. Not Dennis Quaid, Jack Quaid.
Jack Quaid himself?
Yeah, the son from Dennis is
No.
on there with Mike.
Oh, that's
On there
great
with Mike.
because he stars in Companion, which Roy Lee produced, that comes out I think in January.
Ooh,
which the script for that is great and the trailer looks great. By the way, as a total aside, oh, that's really cool. See, now I got to get that. Oh well. Oh, Alan Rickman. Oh.
I love the whole cast. Sam Rockwell is just great in it. Still a blast.
No, it's a very funny movie.
Yeah.
It's a very funny movie.
Especially when you watch even the Red Letter Media movie, that a lot of stuff probably got changed, and it was actually probably at the beginning more raunchier than just
Yes.
a PG
Yeah, I
movie.
think they did it too. I mean, You know, I was talking about Galaxy Quest last night on my show because I'm an elitist gatekeeper, and I was saying that the one of the things, like I do love Galaxy Quest, but one of the things that I think if I had made, I'll tell you a funny story. For a brief moment after Free Enterprise came out, I was approached to direct Galaxy Quest.
You don't say, Rob.
I do say. Brief moment, but there was no way they were going to ever hire me. The idea was floated in my direction, but there's no way because I'd never worked on a film with visual effects, and they didn't, for obvious reasons, the Tim Allen character is basically playing a Shatner-esque character. So when Free Enterprise came out, it got good reviews, and it won awards. So for a brief moment, yes, I took a lot of meetings, and it was interesting.
Rob,
that...
Tell us the truth. You went into the movie meeting and you said to them, I will never make fun of Star Trek.
No. It never. I never had a meeting on it. It was more like gauging my interest. But the one thing about Galaxy Quest that I would have done if I did direct the movie, the one thing about Galaxy Quest is they made the show Galaxy Quest look bad. When you see Galaxy Quest, the show isn't cool. It's all catchphrases and it's all goofy. And
for me it fits, Rob, considering
how old
the show was.
I know, but the thing is, a show like Galaxy Quest that's that goofy would never have generated the fan base that you then see in the film. And then they do other things in it. Like when the characters go to the actors, or when the fans go to the actors and ask them, like Peter, they ask, what's his face? You got to tell us what we're looking at these blueprints.
Yeah.
And that's an affectation of, that wasn't genuine. And in the movie it works because the pop culture view of what fandom is, fans that were that smart would never go to the actors. Now that's not to say that fans don't do that, because I've seen fans do that. But they definitely played up, just like Big Bang Theory did, they played up that aspect of fandom. And I think that there was a way to make a Galaxy, because what you see, the great thing about the actors is how they're portraying the actors is that a lot of these people do get stuck in these roles, and they do end up going to conventions to make money, and they do end up doing it until the rest of their lives. And that aspect was really interesting. I would have made a Galaxy Quest movie that was a little bit more realistic, but it probably would have been less funny. And people probably, but because there is a, to me, the king of Galaxy Quest stories is there was a Star Trek anthology released by Bantam Books called Star Trek: The New Voyages that was released, I want to say, in 1976. And in it, there's a story called Visit to a Small Planet Revisited, where the cast of Star Trek, Shatner, DeForest Kelley, Leonard Nimoy, they are beamed up on, there's some kind of a temporal anomaly, and the actual actors are beamed up onto the real Starship Enterprise. And they have to deal with a situation, and they're just actors.
Historical documents.
It's historical, yeah. And that was, to me, that's where Galaxy Quest came from, whether they admit it or not. I'm not saying they ripped off the story because people have ideas, but it was really fun watching the actors deal with the real life situation, and it was the aliens mistaking TV broadcasts as historical documents. All that was genius. But I do think that, and how they portrayed fandom, ultimately, that the fans have insight into what to do to help out, all of that was great. I just didn't like, and watching it again on this beautiful 4K disc, watching the show Galaxy Quest, my only change would have made that show really great and compelling. Like, I would have shown Peter Taggart give some big speech. Some big speech that stops a civil war or something. So you realize why fans, because here's the thing about fandom, that this is just me personally, that I've been seeing and dealing with my whole life. And the Get a Life speech, and having worked and directed Shatner, none of these actors truly if you're an actor in a movie or a show, and it becomes a cult hit, or you'll never understand what it is like to watch the thing that you were in and why it became the cult hit that it became, because you were in it. You can never, because you were, all you think about is cut, print. You think about the long days you put in, and you can't ever watch something and be inside of it. I've been saying this a lot in the last 24 hours, and understand why people love it as much. For Shatner, Star Trek was never something that made him a huge star. It was always struggling in the ratings. It was always number 2. It was never number 1. They were going to cancel it after season 2, and a letter writing campaign from the fans saved it and got him a 3rd season. And then they put it in the network death slot on Friday nights at 10, and it died after a 3rd season. So for Shatner, Star Trek was never, it wasn't something, especially in the first 10 years it existed, it was not a hit show. And when it went into strip syndication and people started having conventions, I mean, he went at first, but he never understood why. And to a certain extent, because he's a guy that would rather be riding horses or playing tennis or whatever. Yeah. And the why people would be so devoted to a show that, I mean, he was a Shakespearean trained actor. He's from Stratford. He came out of Stratford. And so that's what Galaxy Quest is playing with. And a lot of that is absolutely true. But the show itself had to be good. And the thing is, people now, Star Trek, the people that make Galaxy Quest are the same people that run Star Trek now. They think that Star Trek is the show Galaxy Quest from the movie. They don't see the value in it. And so many people go back and watch Star Trek and they just immediately dismiss it. However, it was genius. So Galaxy Quest and the Black Mirror episode USS Callister, which also was a riff on Star Trek, and the director of that is now going to direct the Star Trek Origin film. We'll see. I don't know. Remember, Dieter, I say this from a position of being an elitist and a gatekeeper.
Certainly. We know that. We learned that. But for me, totally deserved.
But the disc is great. It's great, and it's great to have it in this form. And it's truly excellent. Yeah.
And it's great that Tim Allen plays it like he loves to being that role. He loves this role. So this was my horror for this week.
Okay, I got a few more things to show other than Galaxy Quest, which is okay. Now, Kino Lorber, we know we love Kino Lorber's cult releases. Now they've released. I have Kino Cult like this. I showed this last week. Number 1 of the Secret Service. This was Kino Cult. Exactly right. This is Kino Cult 21.
Yeah.
Well, in this box, I got Kino Cult 20. This is a British exploitation film from 1971 called 1,000 Convicts and a Woman.
Ooh.
Now, every time, here's the thing. First of all, I would recommend whenever Radiance puts out, Radiance has that movie coming out called The Cat. It's a German film that starts
with Götz-George.
That trailer, I went to the Radiance site because Radiance is always putting up. That trailer looks great. That movie looks great. It kind of looks like Spike Lee's Inside Man or something like that. I don't know. I'm like, oh, I gotta get that. Radiance, if you go and watch if you want to get excited about Radiance's release slate, go to their website and watch, or go to YouTube and watch the trailers for those movies. This trailer is pretty hilarious. You can see it. And I laughed out loud. So it does have a different, the artwork's the same, but it's different. Here's the great tagline: white man, black man, every man. It's in the trailer. You got to see it. 1,000 Convicts and a Woman. Now, I don't know because I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if this is like my beloved Euro softcore bush porn that I love so much. But, back in the day, you got a lot of bush, and they weren't afraid to get nude in Europe. So I don't know if this is... And I'll tell you something. There's a documentary on here. Cat in the Bag, don't know. But these I think Kino Cult's list of films is the wackiest, most fun bunch of strange exploitation movies. And remember, Kino Cult Kino's putting out Invasion of the Bee Girls, which should be part of Kino Cult, but I'm glad they're putting it out because that movie's great. But so 1,000 convicts and a woman. Come on now.
Nice.
And then Kino also put out 2 4Ks. David Tui's Below.
Oh, nice.
In 4K. If you haven't seen, I watched this movie with Dave Parker at my house when I was married, and we'd never seen it. We both watch it. Watching a horror movie with Dave Parker is great because he actually gets scared, and he yelps and stuff. Watching this movie with Dave was great. We were partying hard at our house, and there was all these people partying in our where I lived with my ex-wife. People would come over on the weekends, and we would have these endless weekend-long parties that would never, people just stayed and partied all day long. But Dave and I are trying to watch this movie in the middle, and I kept turning up the volume even louder so people wouldn't come in. They would stay in the kitchen and out our little outdoor area, which was great because people eventually just stopped coming in. They're like, we get it until the movie's over. Shut the fuck up. But this movie is great. I love this movie. It's absolutely fantastic. If you haven't seen this, check it out. And then they also put out in 4K, which also this has a Shamhammer's Return to Greatness.
Nice.
It also is this again 4K. And you know what, Kino Lorber getting this stuff out again. This is a 4K title. This came out. This is a Blumhouse movie, right? It is, or maybe not.
So.
Yeah, it's Bleeding Edge and Blumhouse. So it was, and he came back and he made this for like $5 million. Good for the Shamhammer for coming back and doing this and making things work out. You go.
And now we are at trap again.
It's got to start all over. But I like The Visit. It's got a good twist. I don't know if it's got much rewatchability once you know what the twist is. But
I would like to rewatch it, Rob. Haven't seen it in a long time.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So you got those. Now, I got something I forgot that I even ordered. Once again from the UK. When you get a Warner Brothers special edition, remember I showed North by Northwest?
Yeah.
Last week.
Another one.
Another one from Warner Brothers. Individually, they pack like, hey, Warner Brothers Domestic, I know that you're not interested in your own catalog. George Feltenstein is, and please, Warner Brothers, would you just let George Feltenstein take over your entire physical media division? I'm talking everything. I mean, Warner Archive has some of the best transfers and best restorations ever in the history of physical media. Now they're doing the searchers. They're going 4K. We love Warner Archive, and we do love Warner Brothers. But Warner Brothers UK smokes these motherfuckers. I mean, that's why they individually package this shit. And you know what they also put out? North by Northwest. Okay, let me just say, hang on, where is it? Let me see if I got this.
Yeah. You showed it last week.
Yeah, I did, but I would like to just do a little bit of a comparison. Okay? So here is the domestic North by Northwest. This is our domestic. Yeah. Now, this transfer is stunning. By the way, I'm going to give this one away because this is stunning, right? But, just standard disc. This is what we get in America, okay? In the UK, as I showed last week, one of Hitchcock's most beloved movies, the UK release, swag, lenticular cover. You got the...
Nice.
Yeah. I mean... How many times I have the Casablanca box set from the UK, thanks to the Vixter. I've got the Exorcist Bible box from the UK. This, not in America, but in the UK, which is a much smaller country, they spend the money, they take the time.
Oh, the Blazing Saddles. Okay.
The Blazing Saddles box set, which I haven't even opened.
Yeah.
Notice something? These are like, the same size. Yeah. They have a standard release of special features. Now, there's all kinds of swag. The cover's different. I don't know if I still have. No, I already filed it. But again, individual box, making sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I noticed? There's no bangs or dents or anything. Because Warner Brothers in the UK knows and cares and understands their audience. And why we can't get that? I mean, America, we can't get that from Hollywood. We can't get that from why? Why? I don't understand. Why do we not get this stuff? Now, maybe you don't want all this swag, but again, and also, they're smart enough that you even pointed out you can take the stickers off.
Yeah. Can do the rating stickers. Yeah.
This is shrink wrapped.
Pretty easily.
Really easily. It's shrink wrapped, and these stickers are underneath the shrink wrap.
Yeah.
But Warner Brothers knows. Warner Brothers UK knows that collectors, you want to be able to take these stickers off. Although these ones are not
even if I
easily.
Don't find the UK ones that annoying. Against the German ones, they are totally fine for me.
Yeah, and you just use a little extra. Look, they came off perfectly.
Yeah.
Little.
Totally.
Came off perfectly. So let's see what you get. Now, I do have the steelbook, This is the steelbook, which this steelbook artwork is admittedly awful. Talk about didactic steelbook or artwork. And then, of course, there is this, big, thick box of, I don't even know what's in here. I'll take it out.
The swag.
Well,
lobby cards.
I know that, but there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here. First, you get poster reproductions. You get, I guess this is a bookmark with artwork, foreign artwork. There's a lot of cards in here. There's a lot of stuff in here, actually. Okay, so then you get black and white behind the scenes stills, which are pretty cool. Was that Cleavon Little and Mel Brooks? So this is really kind of neat, behind the scenes stills, and some of these are, they're two-sided, these are really kind of nice. And then, then the artwork, the key art. And then, of course, there are, I guess this is a recreation of the as you can't see, a recreation of the lobby cards. And that I really like. I like when they go back and they recreate the lobby cards. And these are great. It's great because you've got like thought balloons with what people are saying. Excuse me while I whip this out. So, and I'm happy to have this because I'm sure that this movie is, well, maybe not now with the political situation in this country. It's no longer in danger of getting canceled. But, again, a movie that people don't even understand the satire anymore. Kind of like Tropic Thunder. But, great to have it. Thank you, Warner Brothers UK. Why doesn't Warner Brothers UK team up with George Feltenstein and take over all the releases from Warner Brothers domestically?
A lot of work. All movies.
Look, all I hope is that The Right Stuff and Excalibur, if Excalibur doesn't go to Criterion or something, that we're going to get, that's why we're going to sing George Feltenstein's praises next week. But yeah.
Nice one.
That's my last. So if anybody wants this North by Northwest, by the way, the transfer is incredible. So there you go.
Yeah. That's the most important thing. That's actually the same.
By the way, I did want to bring up something else. So I got a Christmas card from Tom Jr. Jackson.
Ooh.
And in the Christmas card was another card. So I got a Christmas card, and then there was this card. And you know what this card says? I opened it up. May the fun be with you. Happy birthday, Rob. So the joke that keeps on giving. I've never actually gotten an actual birthday card for this thing that's been going on since February. And Tom Jr. Jackson was the architect of this. This has gone on for a long time. And he also included this, which I haven't read. So I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
He wrote this on December 1st. Greetings, Rob. I hope you're well. It seems that magically wonderful time of the year has returned. Grinchmas. Christmas. It is how crazy, how fast it has snuck up on us. Things are going good for me. Health is good. Family is doing well. My brother got a new job as a manager of a seafood store, supervising the stuff that comes right off the boat. Bro. Hook a brother up. I love seafood. So he is happy about that. I hope things are going well for you and your partner in crime, Elizabeth. By the way, crime is really never the right path. Have you checked out the Thin Man collection? I have. I opened it up and started watching that. The Thin Man movies are great. If you guys want to get a delightful Warner Archive title, I cannot recommend. As a matter of fact, it might be in my top 10 of the year.
Ooh,
Warner Archives, the Thin Man collection is great. Have you checked out the Thin Man collection yet? The transfer on it is beautiful, and the writing of these snappy one-liners still hold up after all these years. Such smart films with a great cast in each film. They certainly don't make them like that anymore. I hope you have a great holiday season, and I hope you enjoy the cards. Happy holidays, Tom Jr. Jackson. Well, Tom, I have one thing to say to you. We are all goof people. So not only did he come up with that, people are still wishing me a happy birthday every day. Unbelievable.
Now even with cards.
And now I've got a card. May the fun be with you. So thanks for that, Tom. You're a good friend. You're a good man, sir. And I'm glad the health is all well. And you're feeling damn good.
Rob, on
yes.
the streaming side, I only watched one movie this week. I watched the remake, finally, Rob, of
Oh, yeah. What'd you think?
No Evil. I already knew that they changed the ending completely against the better one, the Danish version. But it wasn't only. Have you seen the remake, Rob?
Yes, I did watch it.
But I was.
I
really
love
the
the performances are great.
Yeah, but it wasn't only the ending. They changed a lot of stuff in between. Only small.
I haven't seen the original.
You haven't seen the original. They even changed small stuff between, and not to the better. From my
that's what I heard. I couldn't make that assessment, but
I get if people don't love the ending here. If you haven't seen the original, the new one is fine. But for me, this left me with a ugly feeling in my stomach. The remake, it's fine. Okay, it's fine. I've seen it.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you'd rather have that ugly feeling in your stomach.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. I rather have something to take with me, instead of seeing it, not forgotten it. It was fine, I would have switched some roles, Rob. I would have Mackenzie Davis play the wife of James McAvoy. I think Scott McNairy.
That's a good idea.
The other actress would fit better as a couple, but it would just be my take. And this was the only thing I watched on streaming. Rob.
You know what?
Before we started the show this afternoon, Rob, I finally watched Hush.
Oh, I gotta get that.
The short select. Yeah, and I totally still love the movie, and I'm so happy that this movie can still live on physical media. I even, when I put my setup up, listen to the audio commentary in the back, and Mike Flanagan at the end of the audio commentary, thanks for everyone who purchased this as physical media, and he hopes that we can keep physical media alive. So this was nice to hear at the end of the audio commentary for it. And now I know, Rob, what the Shush cut is. It's a black and white version with the sound a little bit stripped, even more stripped down.
Oh, nice.
Than the original version. But I haven't seen it, but I watched the original one. So it's really nice that the movie still lives on, even if Netflix pulled the plug on it for whatever reason. But if a movie doesn't get clicks anymore, why do keep it on our service? Just get rid of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Great stuff.
So
there's
news or super chats?
Oh, let's go to super chats.
200
Watt Studio says, I just went to Dieter's Amazon gift list. Lots of black leotards and turtlenecks. Small. That's a Saturday Night Live joke. Carrying closet in '84. I've been out ever since. I'm not going back in the closet. I'm just saying. Can you imagine, Rob? You being in there, I'm taking this. Nothing is in the closet anymore when you left. Well, the thing is, but if I went into the Criterion closet, I would take things that I didn't buy. I'd go get lesser stuff that I'm like, yeah, I'd love to have this, but I wouldn't, because I have most of the Criterion stuff I want.
Yeah.
But by the way, 40 years old, You know, their big Criterion 40-year-old box set, their Celebration box set came out. I mean, I kind of want to get it simply because it's their Celebration box set, but I have most of those movies anyway.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
and it was nice to see Johnny Toe in the closet, Rob. This was a surprise.
Johnny Toe, their latest video they released, that was really, really cool. I really like that.
Yeah.
Alexander Wilson, by the way, I have a shout out to Alexander Wilson. I'm still trying to organize something specifically for him, and I'm getting very close to doing that, but I'm going to leave that as a surprise. He knows what it is. We'll see. I wasn't able to get it by the 1,000th episode, but I don't think I've forgotten about you. Alexander Wilson says, Pixar, Marvel, and Disney Animation had a film make $1 billion this year. Disney had the most Oscar and Emmy noms this year. But you know who didn't participate in those accomplishments? Lucasfilm. Do you know what is going on over there? I don't. You know, it's amazing to me. And I on it, look, people blame Kathleen Kennedy. And I don't think it's so much Kathleen Kennedy as it is Disney as a whole. Kathleen Kennedy, I mean, that Star Wars hotel, their premium experience, the Starliner cruiser, whatever it was, not Galaxy's Edge as at Disneyland. And people love that. And Rise of the Resistance is one of the great rides at Disneyland. But the hotel failed. And I just think there's a fundamental lack of understanding of what Star Wars is at the corporate level. And this desire to replace what has come, this is what people don't understand. Everybody who takes these franchises are like, we have to make it new and refresh it for the next generation. And I'd say, no, you don't. It's already great. That's why you bought it in the first place. You know, the idea is not to rewrite history. They're trying to do that with Star Trek. Star Trek, the origin. No. This is the real origin of the Star Trek universe. Oh, okay. You mean by people that didn't create it or didn't have a hand in starting it in the first place, you're going to now go tell us that's the... They keep doing that. Did you see the new trailer for Section 31?
No, I haven't.
Well, as a gatekeeper and an elitist, I would say that that show looks... It's the most... Maybe it'll be good. I'll certainly tune in. And Michelle Yeoh, I mean, I love Michelle Yeoh, but she's in the trades this week talking about how she crashed the glass ceiling. And I'm like, okay, Michelle Yeoh, that might be true. And you've talked about how Jackie Chan was, you know, he was a dude and he a little bit of a chauvinist. But Michelle Yeoh has been kicking ass for 30 fucking years. If there was a glass ceiling, she smashed it long ago. She was a Bond girl in 97.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she's kicking ass. Now that she's won Academy Award, she's like in so many things. She's in Wicked. I mean, she's kicking ass. And, you know, we live in a strange world. But I don't want to see Section 31. I'll watch it. It's going to be painful. But I don't know what's going on at Lucasfilm. I don't know what's going on at Lucasfilm. I really don't. I don't understand because, again, it seems like here's a franchise that's a no-brainer. You hire people that know and love Star Wars, and I don't know. But even that's not working because The Mandalorian Season 3 was really god-awful, and The Book of Boba Fett might be one of the worst things, other than the Star Wars Holiday Special. I think The Book of Boba Fett was one of the worst things I've ever seen in terms of being related to an IP. How you fuck up Boba Fett, how you fuck that up, I'll never know. I mean, it's like, it's a crime thriller. Like I've said before, it's King of New York, it's The Godfather, it's Scarface, it's The Sopranos in space. Go do that. And how they fucked up The Book of Boba Fett, I will never know. I will never know. Also, how Boba Fett, after working with the Sand People, doesn't like organize them as, you know, his... Anyway, I won't get into it. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand, Alexander. I really don't. I don't know. Alexander goes on to say, but speaking of Lucasfilm, I did enjoy the first 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew. It felt cinematic in that classical Star Wars way. John Watts may have a winner here. Do you have any thoughts on the show? I have yet to watch the show. Have you watched Skeleton Crew?
I have not seen it, and sorry, I have no interest in seeing it.
Well, I want to see it, and it's got great directors working on it. I mean, I hope it's good. It's just that, again, look, I understand it. It's because my love of the Goonies is on record. But people are, it's okay.
So it's totally your alley.
It's the Goonies in space. And I'm like, here's what I don't understand. Why is it that both Star Trek we're going to get a Star Trek, a Starfleet Academy show, and we've got Skeleton Crew. And I understand maybe it's delightful, but why do they have to make these franchises? I loved Star Trek, a show about adults, when I was 5 years old. I loved Star Wars when I was 10 years old. Everybody loves Star Wars. But now they want to bring all these things back to kids. And the thing is, both of those things, I wanted to grow up to be Luke Skywalker, to be Han Solo. If there were kids in the original Star Trek, I wouldn't have watched it. I was a kid. I don't want to watch things that have other kids in them. I wanted to watch things that, I did go see, look, I loved Jodie Foster when I saw Candleshoe. I hadn't seen Taxi Driver yet, but Candleshoe ruled. But I was not a fan of movies that had kids in them because I was a kid. I wanted to see movies that would take me places that maybe I could be like that guy when I grow up. Maybe I could be like the Man with No Name. Maybe I could be like Raymond Burr in Godzilla. Yes, I was one of those kids. I want to be like Raymond Burr. But the I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I'll watch Skeleton Crew. I've been so busy. My priority is getting True Noir finished. Yeah. And that's what I'm doing. Thomas
And
Logan says,
probably I've gotten some link to that. Just saying. I might or might not be.
There's no link. What are you talking about? Thomas Logan says, Rob, there is no love dimension. Cooper goes into a 4D tesseract made by 5D humans from the future, wherein he delivers the gravity equation to Murph. Dude, I was kidding. I know this. And yes, in the original Jonathan Nolan script, there was much more presence. There was also a Chinese faction, and the 4D tesseract and what actually happened was something that was much more apparent. But I just say it's the love dimension because, that's what it felt like in the movie. Let's lean into the emotion of it all. I know there's no real love dimension unless you come over to my house. I'll show you
the love boat.
The love dimension. Love brokers, if you're a fan of Michael Keaton and Night Shift. Yeah, I'll show you love dimension.
You have such sights to show you.
We do, I'll bring out your Cenobites. Alexander Wilson says, you said young people don't like old movies or criticize them a lot, but there is a timeless movie that a lot of younger people love, and that is Frank Capra's 1946, It's a Wonderful Life. Why do you think that movie reacts so well with young people? Well, first of all, because immediately it's a generational thing. It's a Wonderful Life is almost a rite of passage because it's a Christmas movie and everybody watches it at Christmas. I think people are instilled, there's something warm and fuzzy about watching it when you're a little kid. But secondly, look, it's also a movie where people put their prejudices against black and white movies aside and they'll watch it and it's fucking great. Like I've said, It's a Wonderful Life is like a feature-length great episode of The Twilight Zone. And there were in The Twilight Zone, they even had It's a Wonderful Life-esque stories. Yeah. And, I think the thing about It's a Wonderful Life is families pass that movie down. And I think I wish more people did it. And I think if you have parents, because I've seen it happen. My friend David Starzyk, he brought his kids up right, and he was showing them Three Stooges comedies when they were little, showing them Bond movies when they were little. And if you have movies curated for you and somebody sits you down and shows these to you, especially parental figures or adults, that just doesn't happen anymore. But It's a Wonderful Life is such a perennial Christmas favorite that I think people get that opportunity to watch it. I think young people would absolutely love black and white movies. They just need somebody to tell them the way. This is the way. That's the way it has to happen. Because then kids are open-minded, especially if they're younger. Kids will watch anything if you tell them to watch it. That's when they're impressionable. Yeah. And little kids, they don't have a prejudice against black and white movies. Like when I was a little kid, I loved Star Trek, which is at the time the most colorful thing in the world. But I also loved the Outer Limits in Star Trek that were black and white. I mean, Outer Limits in Twilight Zone, which are black and white. It's just you have to be introduced to them. And I think if somebody introduces kids, then they'll watch. Then they won't go, I'm not going to watch it because it's black and white. 200 Watt Studio goes on to say, I hated the Black Mirror Star Trek episode, which is USS Callister. It was very mean-spirited. How can that guy direct an optimistic Trek film? I totally agree with you, but somebody, see, here's the thing. The USS Callister, if you have not seen it, it's a Black Mirror episode. Watch it. It's another thing, while it was well done, it doesn't take Star Trek seriously. Nobody can take the original series seriously. Not the people making Star Trek now. The people in charge of the franchise do not think the original Star Trek was great. They look at it, they can't see beyond its campiness, its color palette, whatever it is, they can't do it. And that's the problem with all of Star Trek. J.J. Abrams, I never liked Star Trek, it was too intellectual. Yet they hired him. Why? Because on a corporate spreadsheet, well, he did Mission Impossible, And I would ask you, Paramount, and all the people out there, if you understand how much a movie takes in versus how much it costs, were those movies successful?
Could be a small margin.
I mean, that's the problem. That's why I love Star Trek the Motion Picture so much. You look at it, it was directed by a master director, and while it was deeply compromised by what happened during production, it had a gravitas to it. It was taken seriously.
Yeah.
Just like...
For me, it was too heady back then, Rob.
But it was unfinished. It was a movie that was unfinished, and there was it had a lot of problems. The new director's edition goes a long way to solving those problems. Not entirely, but
considering the flyby, that I could get not enough of,
I know,
because you didn't had seen the Enterprise shown that way, and it is the greatest ship ever. So for me, it could have taken 5 minutes longer. It
is. I know. Me too. A 5 Dot Toast has gifted 5 Burnettwork memberships to Eucalyptus, nice. Justin Kelly, a.k.a. Pokemac, Sean Christopher, he's going to Saturn. He is. That's a Star Trek joke. My Rhino and Jay Beert. So congratulations and welcome to the fold, everybody. Welcome to the fold. So thank you for that. And thank you, Alexander, for those 3 super chats, or those 3 tips. Major Chai Chai says, all hail R&B, the elitist gatekeeper of great physical media. You know what? I think I need to now have somebody do some fan art that I can put on the front of the channel. So I can now say, instead of the Duke of Dope Discourse, I can now say the elitist gatekeeper.
Gatekeeper. Yeah.
I will accept that elitist gatekeeper moniker. Because
this far, not further.
The problem is we live in a society where people think being an elitist gatekeeper is a bad thing. It is not. Just saying that. 200 Watt Studio says, where did you order the UK North by Northwest 4K box set? I ordered it from Amazon. The thing about those box sets is you have to jump on them. Right, they've learned their lesson because of The Exorcist. I ordered it when it was first available, and those things are gone immediately. And I think once they're gone, they kind of remove them from being able to find them. I've noticed that because when I went and looked for it, it doesn't show up anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe that I ordered that. I ordered
had those 2, Rob. You had the BFI set, the big, and one like Blazing Saddles and North by Northwest.
Yeah,
actually 2 options.
But I ordered Blazing Saddles from Zavvi.
Yeah, that's the other option.
And Zavvi's other option.
And you can always go international with those box sets. You can get those in Germany, Italy. You can always shop Amazon internationally for those box sets.
Yeah, totally. Thomas Logan says, if the left had their way, they would ban Blazing Saddles. Probably. So Lewis Tully says, where is the Trek 5 director's cut? Well, I can actually speak to that. I worked on, I was producing special features for the Star Trek 5 double disc special edition DVD when they were doing those big DVD sets. There just isn't enough there isn't enough to recreate. There's not enough footage to recreate the original ending of Star Trek 5 with the rock creatures They just don't have the footage, and they don't have the live action footage the way it was storyboarded, and they just don't have it. So when they did Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the 4K version, they even went back into all the original elements and found things like Earth was supposed to be in one shot with the Enterprise and dry dock. It never was there. They were able to put it in. They recomposited a lot of the effects. Star Trek V doesn't have that. And Star Trek V was over budget. It was also a deeply compromised production. The brand fare and effects work isn't good. I think you'd have to replace all the effects in Star Trek V. They just don't have what they need, unfortunately. They didn't get the original materials at the time, so they can't do. I think the problem with Star Trek V too is that if you read Shatner's original treatment for Star Trek V, which I have around here somewhere, it's actually really good. It's called Act of Love. And, I think part of it was Shatner's inexperience and the fact that the studio said, well, Star Trek IV was so funny. Yeah. You got to make this funny too. And you had a story. Star Trek V, if you see, it's got like the scenes where Sybok, when Spock sees himself being born and his father says, so human, and McCoy watches his father die. There's great stuff. They could have made a great movie out of Star Trek V. But I think Shatner was saddled with budgetary. They restricted his budget when the movie needed more money. And they also injected all of this needless humor into the story. Because I think a Star Trek story
You want the same thing again,
Yeah, I mean, having a messianic figure that's going to take you to Sha'Carri could have been a great thing. It's unfortunate that it's not what it should be. But they just don't have the material. And because I had suggested that and gone into that, and when I did Shatner's commentary, even when I did his commentary, one of the reasons I stopped working on that project was it was taking too long to get some of the interviews I was trying to get, and two, the studio heavily edited Shatner's commentary that I did. I went to his office and I recorded it with him, and he said things like Sybok's character was based on Timothy Leary, who is a big counterculture advocate of using LSD and expanding the mind in the 60s. And it was so funny because I heard back, and this also happened this happened on when I was doing this DVD. They said Shatner can't talk about drug use in relation to Star Trek. And I got that from Paramount lawyers. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, from the first season of the original series, you had the Venus drug that Harry Mudd has. In the first season of Next Generation, there's an episode called Symbiosis. I think it's called, is it Symbiosis? Where you've got one culture basically enslaving another culture by turning them all into heroin addicts, that Merritt Buttrick is in and Judson Scott. And what do you mean? There's all kinds of stories in Star Trek about drug use. But what can you do? No Money G says, to the greatest elitist gatekeeper of Star Trek there ever was. Someone has to call out the nasty BS crap they're putting out. Thanks, Rob, and Dieter, too. Well, thank you. I will continue to fight the good fight. So why not? Alexander Wilson says, spoiler alert, in Skeleton Crew, the planet the kids come from is a dystopian, oppressed, surveilled, almost communist-like planet where their future is already mapped out for them. The kids dream of creating their future and what to leave. Really? Well, that makes me, I didn't know that. That makes me more interested in seeing the show now than ever before. I didn't know that. It looked like they came from a really nice place. Well, that makes me want to see it. And maybe that's something Star Wars needs in it. But so I'll watch it. Look, I'm going to watch it. John Watts directing it. That sounds good to me. So, in terms of we got the news coming, Dieter.
Yeah.
And there's some good news. Let me first of all, I want to remind everyone that Lionsgate. You can go to Lionsgate and read my essays on Apocalypse Now. The Lionsgate website is very cool. And right now on the Lionsgate website, you can go get that Apocalypse Now Steelbook and that big box set with all the swag in it of The Conversation. And you can read both of my essays. So that's very exciting. So in the news, one of the things we've got in the news is, of course, Warner Archive's January releases. And again, Warner Archive is killing it, which is really, really pretty great. So here's something that I don't even remember when this movie got made, but they have decided to make January Western themed Last Stand at Saber River. And this is, of course, starring Tom Selleck, rides into Western adventure in a grand, gritty style as Cable in The Last Stand at Sable River from the novel by Elmore Leonard. And 2 children, Haley Joe Osment is in it. And they return to Arizona to resume a quiet life. Instead, he finds Union sympathizers, and David and Keith Carradine have taken possession of the small spread. The war should be over, but Cable, who he plays, faces one more battle before the healing can begin. And this has a new 4K restoration from the original camera negative. I mean, that sounds great. The Carradine brothers are in it. I don't even know this movie. I totally will watch this. Then they've got Cheyenne, the complete series. In the 1950s, a posse of popular Warner Brothers TV westerns galloped onto the American living rooms. Maverick, Sugarfoot, Bronco, Lawman, Colt 45. The Sagebrush Range began with Cheyenne, an epic series of gun-blazing action and panoramic prairie vistas that ran for 7 top-rated seasons and helped turn a nation of accountants, sales clerks, and kids into armchair cowpokes. The source of Cheyenne's significant popularity was its charismatic and heroic leading man, Clint Walker, who rose to instant TV star fame as Cheyenne Bodie, a 6.5 feet of cowboy brawn, courage, and integrity. The series is highlighted by early television appearances of James Gardner, Ed Burns, Alan Hale Jr., Dan Blocker, Lee Van Cleef, Michael Landon, Lauren Green, Angie Dickinson, Connie Stevens, and Ellen Burstyn. This is why Warner Archive is great. They're also putting out Just Friends with, look at that, Amy Smart and Ryan Reynolds and Anna Faris and Chris Klein. By the way, Cheyenne has 30. It's a 30-disc Blu-ray set with all 107 episodes restored in 4K from the original camera negative. How amazing is that? Plus, it has The Lonely Gunfighter, The Legacy of Cheyenne. This is Just Friends, and it's got blooper reels, alternate scenes, deleted scenes, behind-the-scenes featurette, a feature-length commentary with the filmmakers, and more. These are all coming out in January. How cool is that? I mean, again, then they're putting this out. Now, I've never heard of this. Gabriel Owns or Over the White House. As America despaired during the early days of the Depression, Hollywood met the challenge with chorus girls, gangsters, romances, a few dramas of social realism, and this one-of-a-kind, thoroughly astonishing fantasy. Gabriel Over the White House. Walter Houston gives a bravura performance starring as a corrupt U.S. president who has a brush with an angel after a near-fatal car crash and awakens determined to right all of America's wrongs, now or by any means possible. Towering like a Yankee colossus, he sweeps constitutional safeguards aside to tackle poverty, crime, and world peace as a populist dictator, winning the adulation of a grateful nation. I wonder where they got this idea. Gregory LaCava, who would later score Oscar nominations for his work on 1936's My Man Godfrey and 1937's Stage Door, directed this grandly made, must-seen curio. How can you not want to see that? A man who brushes aside the Constitution after he's president of the United States? I've never heard anything like that, Dieter. But, man,
it never happened before, Rob.
You go, Warner Archive. A cautionary tale, to be sure. And then, I'm sure Jerry Beck is excited about this. Frankenstein Jr. and the Impossibles, the complete series, is coming out. Again, these animation box sets they're doing. Daffy Duck's Quack Busters from Looney Tunes. And not to be outdone, Tom and Jerry, the complete CinemaScope collection. I mean, this is what Warner Archive is best at, and you know these transfers. I mean, 30 discs of Cheyenne? Man, that makes me want to see that. I'm in. Count me in, Deets. Warner Archive. And now we get to Scream Factory. First of all, look, it's not a great movie. It's not. But if you have a movie that is literally about heavy metal demons on Mars with Ice Cube in it, heavy metal demons versus a rapper. John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars in 4K. I like this movie more than I probably should. Pam Grier, Jason Statham, Natasha Henstridge, the species herself. and Ice Cube. Come on, man. This movie's fucking metal. Who doesn't love it? Now, we get to, in 4K, Humanoids from the Deep. Dieter, have you ever seen Humanoids from the Deep?
I don't think so. I'm not.
Dude,
sure.
this movie fucking rules. It's about like mutant sea creatures, maybe they're mutated salmon, that come out of the ocean, rape women to impregnate them to perpetuate their species. The monsters are great.
I saw the cover on Blu-ray.com.
The monsters are great. The chicks are hot. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put this so you can see the live chat. There we go. Cover's great. But this movie is, first of all, this movie's shot on location, like at a seaport village. So it's got great locations. It's got Doug McClure and Vic Morrow in it. I can't think of a better B-movie cast than that. And this movie has a banger ending. It's violent. It's sexual. It as I like to say, this movie fucks in all ways possible. I love this movie. It has a great James Horner score that you will hear a lot of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan in, just kind of the way you heard he ripped off Star Trek The Motion Picture for his Battle Beyond the Stars score. This movie's great. And this keeps there is a theme here of monster rape. And look, no one wants to condone that, but you've got evil sea creatures having their way with women to impregnate them. And in this movie, you have an alien caterpillar and Aaron Moran getting busy in Galaxy of Terror. Again, James Cameron worked on this. Galaxy of Terror and Humanoids from the Deep. I can't think of a more perfect double bill of early 80s creature features. Who doesn't love Galaxy of Terror? It has a great look to it, a great feel. It's truly a terrifying, I mean, obviously inspired by Alien. This artwork does not do it any favors. But I love Galaxy of Terror, James.
But I think both titles could be having different cover artworks beneath it.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. But, you know, Humanoids from the Deep can't get much better than that. But Galaxy of Terror, as much as I like this, it doesn't really represent the movie. You know, if you want, and by the way, both of these movies take place on alien planets. So, you know, there you go. I love Galaxy of Terror. I love Cameron's effects work and all the work that they had done. These were theatrically released films, and they delivered the goods. Both did. Then there's a movie they're putting out called Sick that I, to be honest, know nothing about. Have you seen this movie?
It was on Peacock Rock. It was an exclusive on Peacock. I was surprised to see it getting a physical media release. It's about a COVID situation. And I quite enjoyed it.
All right,
nice
and then
let's get a physical media release. It was a Peacock exclusive first.
There you go. And then there's a movie called The First Slam Dunk, which I believe is an Japanese, is it an anime movie in 4K?
It's an anime. It was Chris Stuckman's favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Stuckman loved this. I'm going to get this just for that reason. Why not? Seems great to me. And then we've got a Chinese Odyssey parts 1 and 2 about the, I guess, the monkey god, the Chinese monkey god. Again, shouts to Lex putting that out. What's not to love? And then, of course, from Warner Brothers, Constantine, a special edition. What is with this cover?
Is this final, Rob? Is this final?
Probably not. But I mean, this is what they released. Once again, Warner Brothers, you're either delivering domestic. I'm talking domestically. Warner Brothers is either delivering no covers or the worst covers we've ever seen. I don't know why. I love Constantine. It's a great movie. Francis Lawrence did a great job directing it. Maybe not the best adaptation of the John Constantine character, but I like this movie, so I don't care. Pretty in Pink, coming out in 4K, which I think we already knew, but I thought I'd bring it up again. Marilyn Vance, who is I do her podcast, Designing Hollywood. Hey, there it is. Then we've got, this could be the Return of the King of Paddington movies. It has not come to the United States yet. The first two Paddington movies, I'm not kidding, are delightful.
So it has only played in the UK?
I don't know if this is, I haven't heard this coming out in the United States yet.
Okay.
A Little Bear goes
a
A Little Bear goes a long way. I've been telling girls that about certain areas of my anatomy for a long time. A Little Bear oh wait, what? A Little Bear goes a long way. Paddington and Peru, the first two Paddington movies are great. This is coming out, of course, from Studio Canal in 4K. Why don't they just do a Paddington box set? I would love that. Mike Hodges, who directed this movie, I'll Sleep When I'm Dead, which is, I love this movie too, coming out, I believe, on Blu-ray. Then we've got The Last Witch Hunter in a steelbook if you want it. I don't know why you would, but hey, you can get it if you want.
Yeah, but this looks great, Rob. This people.
It's cool. I agree. Then Kino Lorber, Uncle Buck in 4K. You go, Kino Lorber. What's not to love? It's Uncle Buck. Everyone loves a little buck, don't they? I think they do. I mean, if they don't. And this is also coming out from Shout Factory, which I don't know much about. A place where, a place further than the universe. I don't know what that means. How can somebody be, so how is, I don't know.
This is
Scenery,
series
scenery that
of
we've never
movies.
seen, sounds that we've never heard, scent that we've never experienced, food that we've never tasted, and the surge of emotion that we have never experienced. This is the expedition of recollecting the pieces torn apart and sensation left alone. I don't even know what that means, but that's part of their press release. When we reach that place, what will we think? Howling 40-degree angle, raging 50-degree angle, shouting 60-degree angle, a wilderness beyond the heavy sea, the furthest south, far from civilization, at the top of the earth, we will find lights through the girl's eyes to live tomorrow. That's literally what the press release is. I don't know what the fuck that means. But
Me neither, Rob. Never heard of it.
Japanese girls are going to the Arctic? I don't know. Who knows? I don't. Maybe somebody can explain to me. I haven't seen it, but it's the full series and the box set. Now, let's see what else we got here. We've got Hundreds of Beavers, or as I like to call it, the Rob Burnett life story. Oh, I'm just kidding. Cartoona will bring the Blu-ray of Mike Cheslick's Hundreds of Beavers, starring Ryland Brixton, Cole Tews, Doug McChensky. And you know, people love this movie. I haven't seen it, but it's coming to physical media. Hundreds of Beavers. I was kidding. That's really not my life story. I'm just saying. Now this is pretty cool. Eureka, Masters of Cinema, Dr. Mabusa. You know, if you have those silent films, I have the silent steelbooks. This is, I think, Dr. Mabusa in the 60s. And I love the Dr. Mabusa movies. I like the originals, and I haven't seen these. But if Masters of Cinema, if Eureka's putting it out, let's all go buy it. Because why not? And then, whatever this is, the Daredevil's Ode to Gallantry. Again, it looks really, really cool. You know, I should say that Fritz Lang made, as they say, two of the defining works of early German cinema with Dr. Mabusa the Gambler and The Testament of Dr. Mabusa, and which I have the steelbooks for. In 1960, Lang was charged by Arthur Brauner's German CCC Films with making a third crime thriller centered on the infamous Dr. Mabusa, completing a trilogy nearly 40 years in the making. A huge success, The Thousand Eyes of Dr. Mabusa gave CCC the confidence to launch into an entire series focused on the master criminal between 1960 and 64, all starring Wolfgang Price in the title role. All 6 films are presented here alongside a wealth of new and archival extras. So the originals too are a part of this. I wanted to say that. Pardon me, I forgot to go back to the picture of that. But so this is that. It's the entire Dr. Mabusa saga. So I guess my first 2 steelbooks will be rendered moot, but that's okay because you got to get this. And then they're also releasing finally Shaolin Boxers. Hey, you know, more Asian goodness.
Always nice. to see.
Always nice from Eureka. Then we've got this, another animated set, which again looks pretty great. Tokyo Ghoul, the 10th anniversary of Tokyo Ghoul, which is pretty incredible. Tokyo Ghoul fans, get ready to celebrate 10 years of this dark, thrilling anime with the complete series, 10th anniversary edition on Blu-ray, following Ken Kaneki, a quiet, book-loving guy who is suddenly thrust into a nightmare when a deadly date with the mysterious Rise leaves him with a life-changing transformation. After a brutal operation, Kaneki becomes a human-ghoul hybrid stuck in a world where its killer be killed. Can he survive in a society that hunts his kind? That sounds pretty cool. I mean, I don't know anything about it, but you get the whole series. Why not? Kino Lorber putting out Summer Rental. You know, you go from Uncle Buck to Summer Rental. Why not? All good. And then we've got this movie. I don't know anything about this movie, but In the Summers. You know, What's
This
not to
new
love?
or an old movie?
Well, Music Box is preparing a Blu-ray release of this movie. It's from 2024. So don't know anything about it. It's a new movie. Maybe it's French. Who knows? But it's coming out. Then we've got this, Candy Mountain. Candy Mountain's coming out. This is from Film Movement. And this movie is from 1987. And New York City in the 1980s, a struggling deadbeat musician named Julius has fallen on hard times with no guitar, band, or paying gigs. He cooks up a get-rich-quick scheme to find the legendary yet elusive guitar maker Elmore Silk. Considered one of the greatest luthiers in the business, Silk's disappearance from the scene has only made his work more coveted by musicians and executives looking to make a buck off his name. Julius agrees to track the man down and sets out on the road. Meant to be simply a journey upstate, Julius stumbles down a long, winding road full of dead ends and wrong turns toward an eventual revelatory conclusion in the Canadian wilderness. The cast features real-life music legends Tom Waits, Leon Redbone, Joe Strummer, Dr. John, David Johansen, and more. A very laid-back Heart of Darkness. And Alex Cox is on the special features. So, hey man, that sounds cool to me. They're looking for
Kevin J. O'Connor from the Mummy movies.
All right, there you go. Then Kino Lorber is putting out John Cusack in Hot Pursuit. So if you don't like John Candy, you can see a John Cusack movie where Candy is clearly involved, as we see from this. Actually, that's probably just a straw, but hey. Then there is this. I know nothing about this movie. Maybe it's Love from 1984. I look at this picture and I know it's Love. Following her parents' separation, a 10-year-old Marbles is sent to live with her grandmother in the outskirts of Hong Kong. Also new to town is the seductive pageant queen Rita, whose skin-tight leotards pique the interest of dashing postman Ken Tong, already involved with the shopkeeper's wife Lynn. Meanwhile, the curious Marbles, who has made a habit of spying on her neighbors with her binoculars, witnesses a murder on a stormy night. A ragtag team of kid detectives comes together. Who is the killer and where is the body? And this is directed by Angie Chen, the first female director at Shaw Brothers Studios. Began her career with a rich and unclassifiable ensemble film, part comedy of manners a la Shaw, part Nancy Drew-esque nod to Hitchcock's Rear Window, all of which was marketed by the studio as an erotic whodunit. Come on.
Okay.
That's a kid's movie that was marketed as an erotic whodunit. I love the girl on the cover, so I'm just saying, why not? Endless Summer Syndrome. Those two things don't seem to go together, but Altered Innocence is going to release Endless Summer Syndrome on Blu-ray. It's like Ebola syndrome, but different. And this movie, a lazy late summer weekend is disrupted by a shocking allegation when Delphine gets an anonymous call from her husband's colleague about an alleged affair with one of their adopted children. Before leaping to conclusions, she decides to quietly observe her family for a shred of evidence, anything to subside her fear and erase doubt. After the truth presents itself in an unexpected, shocking manner, Delphine chooses to look past the blame for a permanent solution. This boundary-pushing debut by Kaveh Dansmahan paints an intimate portrait of an upper-class French family with a sly black humor and sensuality aplenty. Oh, yeah. Okay. Endless Summer Syndrome. What can you do? Then Radiance. By the way, as I said, you got to look at Radiance's trailers, man, because they keep putting out the stuff. Radiance delivers the goods. Can I get on their free list, please? They're first releasing Hard Boiled 3 pulp thrillers by Alain Corneau. I can't speak French. What do you want me to say? And these sound great. Police Python 357, Yves Montand plays a tough cop who, when his lover is murdered, finds himself implicated in her death and is in a battle of wits with a powerful rival. In the second screen adaptation of Kenneth Fearling's The Big Clock. And then Jim Thompson's A Hell of a Woman is transported to Paris, and then in A Choice of Arms, Yves Montand heads an all-star cast, including Catherine Deneuve and Gerard Depardieu, as a former crook pulled out of retirement when a gang on the run turned him into a shelter after a prison break. Hey, these sound great. And you know how we love Radiance. And if you look at their trailers, which now I have to look at all of their movies, They just look great, and you want to buy them all. So this is a box set with 3 movies, which is very cool. And then we've got, again, look at these covers, man. How can you not want to get these? The Eel. And then, of course, we've got Jeté. And this is directed by the same man who directed, and I never pronounce his name right, Alan Rene, who made Last Year at Marienbad. So, which I love. I love Last Year at Marienbad. So there you go with that. So that's exciting. So they're putting that out, and they're also putting out another Fernando de Leo film, and they release these, Kino releases these, Rulers of the City, with Jack Palance, probably great. Don't know, but hey, I'll watch it, and it's got an 18. Close Your Eyes is coming out, which, again, I don't know much about, but it's, again, intriguing. Close Your Eyes, it's from Film Movement. It's from 2023. It's a new movie, and it's coming out on the 28th, and I don't know anything about it. Just like I don't know anything about this, which I will not buy, Dinosaur Valley Girls. You know, you can't set out to make a camp movie, but hey, it's coming out.
Visual Vengeance.
Visual Vengeance is preparing a Blu-ray release of Don Glute. No, is Donald, is that the guy who wrote the novelization for Empire Strikes Back? I don't know. Am I wrong about that?
Okay.
But Forrest Ackerman, Denise Ames, Jeff Rector, and Karen Black. I know Jeff Rector and Karen Black is in this movie. A Hollywood action movie star is zapped back to a world of dangerous dinosaurs, grunting cavemen, and a tribe of exotic, love-starved cave girls. And this is the first time it's ever on Blu-ray, and it's packed with hours of new and archival bonus features. Maybe that makes it worth buying. And check it out. Produced, written, and directed by fan film pioneer, Marvel Comics scribe, and Star Wars novelist Don Glute. Dinosaur Valley Girls playfully and skillfully dives headfirst into the subject matter, including creating a completely new language for the titular tarts. What could have been just a typical late-night slot filler on Skinamax becomes an epic world-building adventure, complete with stop-motion dinosaurs, original music numbers, and off-the-wall cameos, and more dad jokes than you can shake an Allosaurus bone at. Well, you've got me, and C. Courtney Joyner, another friend of mine, is involved. You got to get this one. Come on, Dinosaur Valley Girls. Hey, that goes to number 1 with a bullet for me. I don't know about you, but hey, I don't even know what Visual Vengeance is, but let's take some, and everybody buy this Dinosaur Valley Girls. Then we've got, is this a Texas Chainsaw movie? Dinner with Leatherface. Anchor Bay Entertainment coming back in hot. It's a documentary about Gunnar Hansen, the actor who portrayed Leatherface in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Friends, colleagues, filmmakers, and fellow actors share personal stories and discuss the dichotomy between the maniacal chainsaw-wielding character he played on screen and the very intelligent, creative, soft-spoken man he actually was in real life. That should be interesting. I'd watch that.
Nice.
And then we've got this, Ginger in the Morning. 50th anniversary. Film Masters provided final details and an official release trailer for the upcoming Blu-ray edition of Gordon Wile's comedy Ginger in the Morning from 1974, starring Sissy Spacek, Slim Pickens, and Susan Oliver from The Cage, the very first episode, the first rejected pilot of Star Trek. This release is scheduled to arrive on the market December 17th. A free-spirited young hitchhiker befriends a middle-aged man so already it's going to get canceled. In this light-hearted charmer, Sissy Spacek, in between her star turns in Badlands and Carrie, plays the title role and is joined by such stars as Fred Ward. The movie has a great early 70s feel and may make you yearn for the days when picking up hitchhikers was an everyday thing. Hey, what's not to love about that? I'd watch that. I love 70s movies. And this is coming out, Clark Gable and Doris Day in Teacher's Pet. What's not to love? Kino Lorber's putting it out, taking, once again, a cue. What does that cover look like? It looks like a Warner Archive title. You know what? Since imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so everybody at Warner Archive should be happy that that's what Kino Lorber is doing. Then there's something I've never heard of. There's this film. Quaxer Fortune has a Cousin in the Bronx Blu-ray. This is from 1970, and it stars Gene Wilder, Margot Kidder, David Kelly, Tony Doyle, and John Kelly. It's reminiscent of Harold and Maude, it says, and Start the Revolution Without Me. Quacks Her Fortune Has a Cousin in the Bronx is a gentle comedy about the story of a man out of step with the world, marching to the beat of his own drum. Quacks Her Fortune, played by Gene Wilder, earns his living by following the horse-drawn delivery wagons of Dublin, scooping up the droppings and selling it as fertilizer. Well, there you go. Margot Kidder is the American college student who finds herself drawn to this unlearned but not unknowing man. Well, there's a movie I've never even heard of that has Lois Lane and Willy Wonka in it. What's not to love? And finally, a movie that I know and love, Woody Allen's Play It Again, Sam's, coming out from Kino and Blu-ray, the movie that inspired free enterprise. So there you go. If you haven't seen this, it's great. Top-selling discs, Beetlejuice, top-selling Blu-ray, Deadpool and Wolverine, Godzilla -1, Dune Part 2, Despicable Me 4. I mean, wow, that's Reagan, Twisters, Lord of the Rings, the motion picture trilogy. I mean, you know, the Batman, Godzilla, X-Kong, the New Empire. That's a wild list. Then
it was Black Friday, Rob, so you never know.
Yeah, I know, it's true. 4K Beetlejuice, Deadpool and Wolverine, Godzilla -1, Dune Part 2, The Batman, Lord of the Rings, The Shape of Water from Criterion, Harry Potter, the complete 8-film collection, The Shining, and Gladiator. So there we go. That is all the news that is fit to print, sir. Boom.
Nice. So I would say I do the live chat, Rob, and you can take 5-minute break after that long news session that you did.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So previously on Let's Get Physical Media, Paul and Brunotto. I like Cop Car, John Watts' first movie. Me too. I like Cop Car pretty much. Miele, I hope I said that correctly. Penguin is a masterpiece. Nice. Major Chai Chai. The last discussion on Superman was trauma-inducing, considering Dave Parker and Rob did go back and forth, considering his portrayal in Man of Steel. Outpost 31. Disappointed that Rob didn't get to do his room tour as promised. And Miele, same Outpost. They want to see the observation as a whole, Rob, at one point. Tim Hens watched Wicked earlier this week, and it really was rather good. Miele, I'm not in the Wicked wheelhouse, and it was great. It's nice to hear. I hear a lot of people coming around on Wicked. Gary Smith, the Burnettwork recommends cocaine. Certainly it does. Dickie Holmes, 3 shitty movies making undeserved records. What a joke. Huh? Can happen. Uncle Jimmy, fellow fans, just got an upgrade player, UB820, probably Panasonic. Is it better to stream through my TV or 4K player? Thoughts? You need to test it out. What is better for your setup? I use a shield, so I can use it to immediately get the sound to my receiver, which I couldn't get if I would use apps on my television. But my television is way too old that you can use apps there. You need to check it out. What's more preferable to use, the TV or your player? Gary Smith, so many people said Moana 2 not going to make any money. It's just a recut TV show. And yet, here we are with 600 million worldwide. Major Chai Chai, I think the goodwill from the first movie and the timing of release is going to give it decent returns. Exactly, Major Chai. Timing is always crucial in the box office market. John the Beagle Dead. We need more disc companies in America. That would be really fine to have more disc facilities. Joe C. Some of those considering the keep selling out on the Vinegar Syndrome side. Joe C. Some of those are going to boutique stores like Diabolic. So the entire 12K didn't sell yet. Exactly, Joe. And probably a lot to scalpers who will sell them on eBay. It's an unfortunate situation too at the moment. Dickie Holmes, Blade Runner, Conan, The Road Warrior, Tron, and The Thing. What a year for pictures. And he is, of course, talking about 1982. Star Wars Lego, Rob. Rob made me appreciate physical media. That's always nice to know. Finity, the timey-wimey-limey. Apocalypse Now, like Blade Runner, is effectively 3 different movies. Yeah, the Redux cut, the theatrical version, Final Cut, and Blade Runner has almost, I think, even more than 3.
It's true.
Admiral, I'm stuck now with Silo and Dune, so Arcane must wait again. But Arcane is finished. You have all the episodes there, right there. While you can wait for Silo to get more, get finished, and Dune 2. Unfortunately, I haven't started with either of those 2 shows, but I'm really looking forward to them. Jim Galaxia, heroes killing in movies. I think the ideals of the noble hero and hope being a goal with minimal loss of life had merits. Rob's takes seem to imply you can't go too far in grimdark hyper violence.
That's right.
Merely. Penguin's last kill was more ruthless than anything Joker has done in any movie. Star Wars Lego, Rob. I saw Youngblood in the theater. Me actually do. Pete and Cart. I don't need to. Well, it is. Pray for rock and roll. Rock and roll is in my veins, man. Exactly. Fox 1 says, you got a package from Amazon UK to USA. Those fucks can't get a package to me in the UK. Walter Whitewalker. Hey, Ridley Scott just directed an epic at 86. What epic are you talking about? Gladiator 2? Okay. Cult Cinema, and that's 83. You guys, considering the show we talked about on Netflix, A Man on the Inside. Rob, have you finished A Man on the Inside with Ted Danson?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Because we're talking about how long we will do the show, how old we will be. And Cult Cinema 83 says, you guys could do the show from a retirement home. But you need to show me at a retirement home, Rob, how to play backgammon, because I don't know how to play backgammon. And they did that in
Backgammon's fun to play. I love backgammon.
Okay. Because they played it in A Man on the Inside. Gambit, 1987. Keep soldiering on, dudes, and keep rocking on with your shows. We will do just that. And I think it was Walter Whiteworker who made the little pun about 7 of 9. He would like to see the 7 of 9. He would like to see the 9 of 9. And Brent Tales Aura says, I want to see 1 of 9. Tim Benz, my last epic dump was more satisfying than Ridley's last movie.
Oh, come on now.
Steve Cantanio, I think this was about Life Force. Rob, I agree. She's hottest lady ever on film. And Brent Tales Aura says, no way, only in the US. Yeah, it's my research. The 4K for Despicable Me, even the Wild Robot. And what was the other animated movies? Kung Fu Panda 4. Actually, I don't find a 4K internationally. Only in the US.
Wow.
4Ks for those animated titles, if my research is correct. Finity, the timey-wimey-limey, Black 7, connoisseur's choice. And Tim Mann says, Dieter, the challenge is on for you to watch Black 7. It's only series 1 of 4, mind you. Okay, I will keep that in mind, but I haven't started. And the Alex Sorba, I think it was about the keep. Got mine, suckers. Lucky you. Dickie Holmes. 13 Assassins and Blade of the Immortal Amikis are some of the best modern samurai films. Highly recommended. Gambit 1987. Akira Kurosawa's movies spring to mind whenever I think of a certain setting and a certain group of people. I always remember it comes from Japan. Stubble McShave. I ordered a new TV and sound system on Friday. I wonder what I should watch first. It arrives on the 18th. So maybe it will be a Christmas movie. And Stubble, don't forget to use and check if the sleep timer is correct. You can do that with Wheel of Time. Just saying, as a tip for you. Danzig, 1979. Catching up on the stream. Any news, Rob, if Lionsgate will ship to the UK? Unfortunately not. No international shipping from Lionsgate. Not even to Canada. Almetal, Lost in Space was one of my first DVDs back in the day. Mine too, Almetal, and I often used the beginning back in the day for the sound to present some sound stuff. Tim Hens, Lost in Space movie, didn't like it. The Alex Sorba, anyone seen Tommy? What's the word? And Almetal says Tommy is one of these many Ringo-like movies from the end 19s. Average from reviews I read, but I haven't seen it either yet. And Major Chai says, Watership Down traumatized me as a child.
As it should.
Gambit 1987. I'm also keen on German dubs from foreign movies. Of course, German dubs are the best. I hear Free Enterprise has a great one.
Oh,
haven't
come
heard it.
on. I deserve it. I can take it as much as I can dish it out. It's cool.
Paul in Long Beach. That Watership Down is a gem. Nice to know, Paul. No. Holmes. Scale DVDs look awesome on a 4K TV too. I don't know if I can go there with you if it's a DVD just upscaled. Certainly not the same. Necro Cannibal. Last Stop in Yuma County came out last year, not the 70s. Yeah, Rob made a little bit of mistake, considering the cover artwork was really...
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I didn't realize that was... I thought that it might have been the original version, because
I was confused there too, Rob, because I thought it was the new... And then you said, oh no, it's from back there. And then I thought, okay.
I thought that was the original version, or I was mistaken, because I love the actor, that Jim Cummings, who's in that movie. I'm a huge fan of his. As a matter of fact, I want to make a movie that he stars in. I have a script that I wish that I could get the money to make that he would star in, but we'll see.
And the cover artwork was really 70s.
Yeah.
Like for
I thought Last Stop in Yuma County, the recent one, is great, and he's great in it.
Totally. Don Mac, did John Woo recently remake The Killer? Yes, he remade The Killer, and it will come out in next year on physical media too. So at least we get.
But he gender swapped it.
Yeah, I don't care about the title. Dennis Hopper is nuts in that. Only in that. I think Dennis Hopper is always nuts in every movie. Mas Hussein. Interesting that The Keep and Life was both getting new announced 4Ks coming, and both written by author F. Paul Wilson. Rob, have you seen that The Keep is coming out in Australia too as a 4K?
I have.
I've seen it.
I have. So
Nice.
if you missed out on the Vinegar Syndrome,
you have the chance to get the Australian one from Imprint. I think
Imprint.
from
And it's also 4K.
Yeah. Major Chai for Dieter. I gave Arcane another try, and unfortunately, I'm still not into it. Mieli, Arcane didn't work for me either. That means you both park your shuttlecraft in Park Deck D, and you will not sit at the same table as me in Forward 10. Pick another table,
Forward 10.
Valerian Winterdrake. Nobody buying the new House of the Dragon Season 2 disc? Yeah, I don't know why.
I bought it. I showed it. I showed it.
Yeah.
And I got the steelbook.
We do. Bothered. Does Play-Doh. Arcane doesn't grab me. So you know where you park your shuttlecraft and where you sit in 10 forward, Castle Grayskull. We need a different stack of questions for Star Trek trivia. Yeah.
No, we don't.
We have to go through the original series first. Finity, the Timey, Limey. Awesome show once again. You're a star, and your co-host Rob is nice also. Thomas Logan, nothing beats T2, Terminator 2. It's the perfected version for the first film, and T3 is far inferior, but I'll still buy the potential 4K. That movie has some solid moments, and the tone is for the most part accurate to the first two. Same with Salvation. Agreed. Even Salvation is always that movie. I always forget that movie. When I watch Salvation, I think this is actually not that bad.
You know, I have to say I like Terminator Salvation. I do.
Yeah, it's a strange movie, Rob. When I rewatch the movie, I think this is not that bad. But a week later, I don't know why the movie doesn't.
Nope.
It's always good. You can always. I always lose. Same. When the heart from it comes out in March next year. Albion, my old Samsung Plasma was like a radiator in winter months, so you get both of the good world. You get TV and radiator at the same time. Michael Preston, my projector screen drops in front of my TV with a sound acoustic screen, as it should be, so you can have the center speaker behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And Albertel says Miele, or like we say, Miele.
No, it's Miele.
Like
it's Miele. It's Miele.
Yeah, Miele. Yeah,
that was his brother's
Miele,
name.
like the production company that does washing machines. Major Chaije, this has put me on notice. I certainly did. And Castle Grayskull, it's okay. I have not seen Arcane anyway.
It's okay.
Okay. It's 87. Thank you, Dieter. Danke vielmals für deine Begeisterung. Nice to see some German nerds. He says, thank you for your enthusiasm. And that was the live chat from last week.
Well, that was good. I was supposed to go on a show 34 minutes ago, another show, but that's okay. We'll finish up. It's all good. So let's see. We got 200 Watt Studio says, Rob, why do you think there's so many sequels deconstructing their heroes or their main characters these days? I think that's a good question. I think, first of all, that's cheap and easy. Look, you know, to me, one of the great examples of that is the deconstruction of a whole genre, which is Unforgiven. You know, with the idea of the myth of the Old West, the myth of the gunfighter, the myth of everybody is so well done. Unforgiven, to me, is the end-all, be-all of the idea of deconstructing the hero. Because William Money, who Clint Eastwood plays, has this terrible, horrible reputation as being this monster of the Old West. And then, of course, you find out that, well, he actually is, because his friend is killed. But you play with mythological ideas and constructs. Gene Hackman, he's trying to perpetuate his own myth. And, of course, you've got Saul Rubinek being his biographer, writing about the Duck of Death, you know. And it's and Richard Harris talks about, well, nobody ever kills a king. People will assassinate presidents. I mean, you don't have to go any further. But the problem is, I think the reason people it's sort of become fashionable because it's easy. It's easy to deconstruct heroes. Look what they did to Luke Skywalker. But the thing is that such a good thing? Heroes are good. The fact that we want to live in a society, or people want to live in a society where there aren't heroes, I think that what that's trying to do is, if there aren't heroes, that means everybody's ordinary. And I think making everybody ordinary is a mistake. Do you know why I can say that? Because I am an elitist gatekeeper. And I believe in having heroes.
We need a shirt.
There are not everybody. I saw this great speech at the Oxford Union. It's amazing. They can be an anti-Semitic terrorist supporting body on one hand, and then they can have a speaker. This woman speaker comes in, and she basically said, look, we need, maybe I was saying this last week, we need people, and she gestured to all the Oxford students. You guys with all of your very liberal leftist values in college, you're going to Oxford. You are exceptional. We need you to go out into the world and be exceptional. Now, human beings are always brought into this world. I believe that everybody should have equal opportunity to do anything. You can make of yourself whatever you want. But we need exceptional people. We need the smart. We need the most athletic. We need the most creative. We need the best of humanity to plow the fields, you know, to push forward and make us better, so we can know ourselves better. And yet nowadays there's this idea that no one even appreciates people who are experienced. Doesn't everybody's opinion count? Like, if I'm giving you my opinion on Star Trek, about Star Trek I was literally called an elitist gatekeeper because I was sharing my love of Star Trek the Motion Picture. And someone says, is somebody offended? I mean, I did work for Paramount for 3 years documenting Star Trek. Does that not count? I did direct a film with William Shatner about my love of Star Trek. I was employed by Viacom Licensing to tell them what a good Star Trek product is. I've actually had professional experience with Star Trek. So doesn't that mean that I have some kind of professional credibility in the Star Trek arena? Look, man, I understand everybody wants to believe that the internet has given voice to everybody. But we need elite gatekeepers. We need people who are the smartest, the fastest, the most talented, the most knowledgeable. I don't know fuck all about finance, but I'm glad that there's a lot of people who certainly do. Captains of industry, queens of industry, whatever you want. It's silly that we now live in a world. Let's deconstruct heroes because that's easy to do. I think what we should be doing is the exact opposite. We need heroes. You know, everybody wants to deconstruct anybody who is great. Let's take them down a peg. Why? Why don't you lift yourself up? From zero to hero, that's what I say, but our civilization goes the other direction. Miele says Kirkane. I don't know what that means. What does Kirkane mean? Am I missing that? Is that like Captain Kirk's cocaine? Kirkane? Or he is cocaine for me? Miele, I don't know what that is, but we should hang out and talk about it. Torn to Watch Studio says Joe Biden over the White House. Laugh out loud. I don't know. Did he suspend the Constitution? Marco wants to know, are we ever going to get Cannonball Run 1 or 2 on 4K? I'm sure we will. Eventually. Why not? Thomas Logan wants me to explain the brilliance of Michael. Is it Haneke? How do you pronounce that right? Michael Haneke?
Michel Haneke.
Michel Haneke. Have you ever seen Cache?
I think so, Rob.
Or cache? It means hidden. It's probably saying.
Of course I have seen Hidden, Rob. Of course I have seen
there you go. Is that the Haneke movie?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's what he's sending you. That movie. I don't need to explain the greatness.
So Cache is the French title, probably.
It's Juliette Binoche and Daniel Toole, right?
Yeah, correct.
So if you haven't seen this movie, it's a thriller where this couple.
I have, Rob, but way back. It is almost 20 years.
It's a great thriller. This couple starts getting these videotapes,
yeah,
and they realize that they're under surveillance, and the less you know, the better. The movie's a great thriller. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I know the movie, Rob.
Yeah, so it's, yeah, man. I don't know if I have to explain the brilliance to you, but I'm a fan. Sure. And I'll have to say that Funny Games, when I saw Funny Games for the very first time, that was the first movie I saw of his. I was blown away. The original, not his remake. I was like, oh my God, that was wild. I had to stop when the picture froze. I had to go like, wait, what? It was great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are caught up, I believe.
Okay.
We are caught up. Are we caught up? We shall see. Yes, so we're good. So I'm gonna have to forego the I have to jump on for the last. People are gonna be like, what happened to you? Why did you disappear?
So, jede Person, die du triffst, hat eine Geschichte zu erzählen, die du noch zu hören hast. Alles, was du tun musst, ist zuhören.
Every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen. Now, next week, hopefully somebody will leave a birthday party early. It's not like you're going to get drunk and take home somebody, are you? So if you are, go for it. I believe that everybody should get their cheeks wet whenever they can. But still, this is the thing. Yep. It's a big day. It's a big show. I can try and change it to Saturday. I'll have to consult with everybody. You have to be here. It's like Hal Holbrook in Capricorn 1. Sunday, you have to help. You have to help. Your families. What do you mean our families? But anyway, so there you go. I want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson for an official birthday card for my birthday, which is apparently now every day. I want to thank all of you for generously supporting this channel via super chats and tips. I did get the first review of True Noir Act 1 from Alvaro, my friend Alvaro, who wrote Equimedian, which is, I think, one of the greatest science fiction novels I've read in a long time. It's certainly one of the best books I've read this year. He wrote the most glowing, I didn't even pay him. He wrote the most glowing review of True Noir, and I'll tell you something else. Major Chai Chai sent me a little missive about the first 3 episodes of Act 1, and she was very enthusiastic. Very enthusiastic. And these are people that, you know, I trust them. I trust Major Chai Chai. She gives me shit. And people that give me shit, I trust them to tell me the truth. And when you make something and it's good and people like it, that's a good thing. So officially, Kickstarter donors are going to be getting probably this week the first episodes to listen to, the Act 1. Then it's going to drop for the public to purchase on December 20th. We pushed it back a week to have more reviewers have time to read or listen to.
The whole Act 1 or just the first episode?
The whole Act 1. So all 3 episodes are dropping on December 20th. Christmas, because they take place before Christmas. And all the subsequent episodes will follow beginning January 10th. And they will all drop consecutive Fridays. So starting January 10th, you will get episode 4, 2 new clients, episode 5, Tower Town and Magic City. Those will come out every Friday. They will drop at 4 p.m. East Coast time for your afternoon commute home. So I've been I've been busting my ass on this project for the better part of a year. I started recording voices for True Noir, the series on May 27th. It's been a long road, so I'm happy that it seems to be getting the initial responses are what I'd hoped. Because look, if this sucks, all the mad shit I spew on the internet about storytelling and all that, I would be a fraud. So I was smart enough to tap somebody like Max Allen Collins to twist his arm and do $1 million worth of work for not even a fraction of that cost. You couldn't even measure. He should have been paid $1 million to write the script for True Noir. But hey, we didn't have $1 million, so you know, what are you going to do? Maybe on the next one. Well, you're not going to get $1 million, Max. But Max Allen Collins will also be on the show next week, talking about his film Blue Christmas, which just came out, and his new film. He'll tell you about that. We'll show the trailer. Oh, nice. And so we'll talk about the state of physical media, and you better be here. I'm going to twist your arm, dude.
Okay.
So on that note, I don't know what else to say. I want to say if Lord Toth is here, you know, if Justin Toner's here, all you guys, thanks very much. Thanks to everybody who watches this channel. And apparently we got to do some internet sleuthing and find Dieter's secret OnlyFans account and see what we can come up with. So if we can, hey, more power to us.
Go and find it.
We will. All right, everybody. Thank you for being a part of this show.